All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored. What about this? Second watch along, and things just keep getting better and better. I'm honored to be joined by one of my favorite people to speak to, one of the best lightweights in the world, the one and only Beneil Dariush, joining us for the UFC 309 watch along. Beneil, how did I get so lucky, man? Tell me, how did I get so lucky?
You just asked, I guess. You you asked the right way, and I couldn't say no. But yeah, you'll see my family and friends walk by and go, and they have absolutely no respect for what I do. So they just expect that. I'm giving you a heads up right now. My in-laws, they think I'm playing video games or something right now, and I try to explain to them like, hey, this is work, and they're like, all right. They're from Vietnam, and they're very old school, so it'll be fun.
Perfect, man. Well, look, they're welcome to drop on by. And for everybody out there watching right now, you can drop your questions in the section here, and me and Beneil will be answering it as we come to the end of the first round over here between Vivian and Silva. And Beneil, a beautiful fight. And also, just for the people that don't know, your wife's expecting pretty soon, right?
Yeah. We thought it was going to be like 2 days ago, and then she's like, never mind. And then she got sick, and she's like, I don't want the baby to come till I feel better. So it's been kind of a mess. But yeah. We're hoping in the next couple of days she's feeling better, the kids are feeling better, and no one will have to avoid it. No one. Hopefully.
Beautiful, man. Well, congratulations to you, man. Can you reveal the gender at this point or no?
I make them exclusively women. I don't make boys. I think I saw something with Volkanovski's the same way.
I love that, man. And by the way, I know that you wanted to be on this card, UFC 309, like you and me spoke. We were sort of throwing around New York. I'm guessing the reason why you're not on this card is because you guys are expecting and you weren't quite sure when the baby was going to come?
No, so I was okay with it if they had given me a long enough time. Because I spoke with Shelby, and they said okay, and so I had assumed they would have given me a good amount of time to prep. My weight gets high nowadays, a bit older, right? So, but then they called me not for this card. It was I don't remember when in December, but they called me for a card in December, and it was like within 5 weeks from now. And I just told them, hey, my weight's too high. I'd like to have a more of a less stressful camp. So I'd like to do January. So now there's been talks of January, but I haven't had any confirmation. So I'm just waiting on them on that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, who were they trying to throw your way for December?
It seems like Moicano is the guy they want me to fight, but I also know, there's been talks like that before, and then all of a sudden I get somebody else. So we'll see how it goes.
It's interesting as well as right now, for people tuning in, we are doing the UFC 309 watch along. We'll get a little bit more properly into it with the next fight with Nickal, but Vivian is fighting Silva right now, and it's a pretty kind of close fight. But I want to know as well, man, like what have you made of this whole Moicano and Paddy Pimblett back and forth? People are going, these guys might fight each other in London. I mean, you're right in the mix there as well. So I wonder what you think about that.
I think it's smart on their part for business. Like, you want to get people engaged, and in terms of business goes, it's good. As far as ranking goes, I mean, for Moicano, it makes more sense if they give him somebody ranked higher. But his nickname is Money Moicano, so I think I think he's doing what he needs to do for himself and for his family. And if he doesn't get what he wants and ends up with me, then that's what happens.
What do you think if it's you and Paddy, man, to potentially maybe the main event for London? Did you see they're going back there in March?
Yeah. I mean, if they call me at this point, when I was on the win streak, I was, I want a title shot. I want #1 contender. That's what I want. Right at this moment, I don't really feel like I'm going to be able to decide who I fight. So if they say Paddy, cool. If they say Moicano, cool. If they say somebody else, it's somebody else. I'm not gonna, say anything. I'm just gonna get to work and get ready.
Look at this.
You know what's hard about watching women fight? It's like imagining your daughters fighting. because my daughter is 3 and she's watching everybody trains, and now all of a sudden she's jumping into the classes and she's trying stuff, and I'm like, get out of there. We don't want any of that. But I think that's the hardest part. But in terms of technique goes, I think women have very good striking technique, very clean, and I think they're really catching up in the wrestling.
Have a look at this armbar here, man. You like what you see? Armbar attempt. Looks like she's not going to get it.
Are you ahead on the stream?
What are you at? I'm at 156. What are you at?
Oh, I'm at 220. That's not good. How do I?
That's all good. Look, I'll slow mine down. Hold on.
Okay, that works. Ooh, nice. There's the armbar.
All right, what are you at now?
That's 205.
Okay, 205. Let me just
circle your head to the other side. Good. Follow through. Move the leg. Come on top. Ooh, or chase the armbar.
What are you at now, Benny?
149.
149. Wait a couple of seconds. And
come back.
All right.
Get your guard back at least. Okay.
I'm at 153. We close enough?
Yeah. We're good. Perfect. I'm at 136 right now.
Okay.
So I'm ahead of you?
You're ahead of me. Hold on. I'll fix it.
130.
All right, cool. I'm at 128.
Perfect. I'm at 24.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. As we talk, man, as well, I want to find out, did you watch the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight yesterday? Because obviously you're kind of linked to it, right? Like your coach, Javier Cordero, was helping Mike Tyson there for a while. You must have heard a few things as the guys were getting ready.
Not really heard anything about his training, except it's going well. I had my concerns in terms of the cardio. And, when Mike came out so hard in the first round and the second round, I was like, man, if he could keep this up, this is going to be a real fight, like a very good fight. But obviously, the guy is 60 years old. I was expecting too much. And I'm not saying he didn't train hard. I just don't think a 60-year-old can keep that pace for 8 rounds, So that was disappointing. But,
like as you were watching it, did you watch it live?
I did, and like I said, round one.
It got a bit rough, yeah. It got a bit rough. Like you saw Mike biting down on his glove, like he used to do that. But it was just like, and then he would just get hit, and I think for me there was a point where I realized we're watching a 50-year-old guy fight a 20-something-year-old. Like even if it's Mike Tyson, you're like, how is this even allowed? Like it just didn't feel right.
I enjoyed the first 2 rounds, but then after that, it was kind of like, nah, I'm not enjoying this. And, you saw moments like flashes of Mike Tyson with his head movement and his left hook. But it's just, the power is not going to be the same at that age. I don't know, man. I just, it happened. I guess that's all I can say. And I'm sure, a lot of people made money off of it and it was beneficial for everybody. And as long as Tyson's okay, it's all good. I don't love seeing it. I prefer not to see that, but I thought overall Tyson gets a passing grade for sure. I think he gets an A+ in my opinion, because like, what do you expect from a guy who's almost 60?
Dude, not only that, but he had knee issues. He had a really rough life. Like physically, he hasn't done well. We got a comment over here from Scrooge McDuck. The worst fight I've ever seen in my life. I actually feel like empty carbs, right? Like after watching that, you didn't even know how to feel. Like you're happy Mike didn't get hurt, but Jake took it easy on him. It was one of those feelings of like, can we never see that again?
Yeah. Like I said, the first 2 rounds, I was stoked. You guys can watch it again. I thought the first 2 rounds looked good. And then after that, it was just like, I don't want to watch this anymore. So maybe not the worst fight I've ever seen. I've seen some pretty bad fights. Man, I can't even remember who their names are, but
I think the Holyfield Vitor Belfort one was especially.
That was pretty bad. But
rough to see.
Fights. Why am I forgetting? It was a Canadian guy fought an American guy, and the guy was running so much. The American guy started doing this movement. I can't remember their names. Now I'm bummed.
Man, we got a question here. Why didn't Tyson deliver any of his devastating uppercuts and ended up, man? It's a good question, Fool. It's in 26, but this is the thing, man. Sometimes with age, it's harder to time and land those shots. Jake did a good job staying on the outside. He was never really in the pocket, and he just kind of picked him up from the outside and just kept him at the end of his jab.
Yeah, so the jab was a big deal from Jake, like you said, and the other problem is, in order to land strong uppercuts from a guy like Tyson, who's way shorter, you got to work the body, and once you do a lot of body work, people start to drop down, and that's when the uppercuts come in, and he never really worked the body because I think they were worried about getting tired. So I think he was more focused on head hunting, hoping he lands something early and kind of cruises for the rest of the fight. But obviously that never happened. That was the gamble, I think.
I got a question here from Carl Wilson. We kind of touched on it earlier before. And for people tuning in, we are doing the UFC 309 watch along. Viviane vs. Silva's on in the background right now. We're going to really get into it in this next PaulCraig Bo fight. But yeah, a question from Carl Wilson. Does Benny have a fight booked yet? Any news and anything in the works? You were mentioning that Moicano was in the picture, but I wonder if it's not Moicano, is there anybody else that you like in the division that you'd like if it was up to you, Benny?
It would be great if I can get Dan Hooker because he's ranked ahead of me. I'm not sure who else is ranked ahead of me, but ideally somebody ranked ahead. If not, I'll take whoever.
Yeah, because I'm just having a look over here. I got the rankings. So you've got Chandler, obviously he's fighting, and we'll chat about him as the fight gets closer. Dan Hooker, Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, a fight that we'd love to see you get, man, but I don't know if that's going to happen. And Justin Gaethje, who apparently is linked to, Dan Hooker fight, but I'm not sure what's going to happen there. Underneath you, you've got Moicano, BSD, Jalen Turner, Paddy Pimblett, and RDA. So yeah, it's kind of tough. The division's pretty booked up at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. So with that being said, I think in an ideal world, I get either Moicano or I get Dan Hooker. But if I was matchmaking, I would consider, if we're talking, a lot of these guys are kind of on their way out. At least some of them are. For example, Dustin Poirier, he keeps talking about it, right? So for him, you want to do a big fight. I think ideal fight for him would either be a trilogy with Justin Gaethje or run it back with Dan Hooker. Their last fight was so good, him and Hooker, and then he lost to Justin Gaethje, so he probably wants to get it back. Lots of eyes for that. I think, what does that leave us with? Justin Gaethje. I don't really see him fighting a guy like Matus or something like that. So depending on how these fights go, he could possibly get a rematch with Charles or Chandler, maybe. And then I think, obviously I want a higher ranked fight. So personally, I would like either Hooker, Dustin Poirier, but I think I'm going to end up with Moicano or somebody further back. And we'll see how that goes. It's so tricky, but if I could just look at the division and who's out there, these are kind of like what I'm thinking. Guys who get to the top 5, they stay fighting in the top 5. They don't fight outside of the top 5 unless they're forced to.
If there was a rematch between Hooker and Poirier, who would you pick in that one, you reckon?
When guys are on their way out, they don't fight like before. For whatever reason, it's not often you see a guy who's on his way out come out super strong. So I would give the edge to Dan Hooker, but you saw the last fight. It could just end up being another war. And Dustin Poirier actually does really well when a fight turns into a war.
And I wonder as well, man, obviously. And by the way, we've got a lot of love here for you in the comment section. Lots of love there from Subashi, who also said, from Nepal, man. You got fans all over the world, dude.
Yeah.
Atomic. Hey, love you, Beniel. God bless you, brother. So we've got a lot of love here in the comments, and I know people were super pumped to find out you were doing this, man. So we really appreciate you.
Yeah, this is dope. This is my first time doing something like this, so I'm stoked on it, and it's cool because normally I can't watch fights because I get hyper focused, and then I start to analyze, and I start sweating, and my wife's like, "Hey, you smell bad. Get away from me." So this is a lot easier actually because we're keeping a conversation, and at the same time, I'm paying attention to the fight somewhat, at least right now. Right. We'll get more into it in a bit, but this looks like I'm not sure who won actually. I'll be honest with you.
I think you and me are too deep into the conversation, which is fine, man. And for everybody in there, we'll be really looking at PaulCraig versus Bo very closely next. It's going to be a fascinating fight, man. And I want to get your thoughts on that in a sec. But before I do, what do you think about Max Holloway bringing this BMF title into your division? It seems like that's another kind of title the UFC are going to try and use for main events and to use for other contenders while Islam may be fighting other people.
You know, I think when Conor came into the 55 division, he just so much light was shone on that division, and now we seem to be kind of the main division as far as popularity goes. You know, and that being said, I think that's why it makes sense to bring the belt there. You know, there's a lot of fights there that you can that'll be instant classics that you could think of. You know, that's actually another one you could say: Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway. It wouldn't be hard to do. There's so many options for Max Holloway, and he's such a great fighter, and I think he's still got so much left in him. You know, his last fight didn't go his way, but I thought he was doing really well. And I think the mistake everybody makes with Poirier is they think he's just a boxer. They think he's just a really good boxer with good wrestling, but it's not that simple. He puts forward a complete game. And so when you were like, oh, you want to box? I'll box with you. And so when Max is starting to land shots after shots, boom, here comes a leg kick. Oh, here comes a takedown. And it completely throws his opponent off. So Max Holloway, after he started eating the leg kicks, that's when the fight kind of changed. And so I think whoever fights Poirier needs to understand he's a complete fighter. And when he talks about being the best boxer, in a lot of ways, he's playing mind games and he's dragging you into a fight that you're not ready for.
Yeah, man. He loves playing the mind games. Yeah. As we look at the celebrities there at UFC 309. Hey, I got to ask, who's like your favorite celebrity fan of yours? You would have met a few celebrities at your fights. Is there one person that kind of you got freaked out over seeing, you know, as you were in the back or anything?
I haven't met too many guys, but if I did, like if I met like Denzel Washington, I'd be like, oh, that's amazing. I always want to, you know, he's one of my favorite actors. I'm trying to think who else is dang, I gotta remember all the movies I watched.
Yeah. I met a few cool people at UFC events, man. Josh Duhamel was really cool. We met. I think Gordon Ramsay was around. You would have seen him a few times. Yeah. I'm so pissed because I didn't go to the event with Kobe. Would have loved to meet Kobe.
Okay, I actually met Kobe.
Really? And give us your Kobe story real quick as we wait for the next.
He just is exactly that guy. Like he was exactly who he acted like. He didn't change the way he acted for situations. You know, he came in to do a summit. My dog here, I don't know if you guys can see the dog, but my dog.
No, we can't see the dog, man. That's a bummer.
Jump. There. That's good enough. Get out of here. I got to speak to him just a little bit, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. I was listening to him. He did a presentation, and then I saw other fighters go up to him. He was speaking, and exactly what you see on camera is exactly what you get. You know, he was a super confident guy. He, you know, didn't really mince words. He went directly to what he wanted to say. And I actually now, looking back, appreciate that conversation a lot because he's just, look, no one's going to look after you kind of deal as far as finances go. You got to be a big boy and figure it out yourself. I remember he was talking about how to invest and who's why am I forgetting right now? Aljamain's teammate, 55er.
You're talking about Ali Quinta?
Ali Quinta, thank you. Ali Quinta was like super upset about it. I remember he's like, what do you mean invest? We don't make any money. How are we supposed to, you know, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, bro, that's not Kobe's fault. Kobe's here to explain to you, you know, what he did and his story. He's not going to be able to figure out how you can, you know, invest and do things with 10 and 10 purse. You grow up, you know. Anyways, that was kind of what I remember from Kobe. That was a really cool experience. I didn't really know too. I don't watch sports that much, so I saw a bunch of other athletes, and I just like, okay, cool. There's people from what's that show you bring in your company and you say, hey,
Shark Tank. People from Shark Tank.
Yeah, I believe there was somebody from Shark Tank, and
Mark Cuban? Was it Mark Cuban, the owner of the
but I
Palace?
zoned out. They were talking, and I just zoned out. I thought I was 27, maybe. All I thought about was punching people in the face, and well, I don't want to talk about what else I thought about, but that's about it.
By the way, man, I was going to say they just showed the updated UFC 910 card, and that's going to have Shavkat versus 310 card, sorry. And that's going to have Shavkat versus Ian Gary now, as Bilal couldn't fight. What's your reaction to that new fight being I think it's the co-main now, and Ian Gary stepping up? Are you excited to see how these guys go? Both undefeated guys, a lot on the line here.
I am. I think it's going to be a really good fight because, I didn't think Ian Gary was going to do as well as he did his last fight. I know it was kind of boring, but that was a very impressive performance on his part. So that being said, I'm looking forward to the fight. And Shavkat, bro, he's such a killer. So I don't see how that fight is boring. I think it's going to be a very exciting fight, very technical fight, and I know what Shavkat's going to do. He's going to come in with pressure and he's going to mix it up. I don't know what Ian's going to do. That's the real question. If he's going to be a reactive fighter or he's going to be on the offensive. So that's really the question you want to. I'm asking because I want to know. That's how I'm going to know how the fight will play out. I think if Ian's reacting, we might actually see a fight that goes to a decision. Wait, it's 5 rounds though, right?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, so it could go to a decision if Ian is fighting more of a reactive fight. But if he chooses to go forward and also meet him, then I think it'll be done before 3 rounds.
All right, as we go into this Bo Nickal PaulCraig fight, it's fascinating, man. You're kind of the perfect guy to speak to about this because a lot of this is going to go down on the ground. Obviously, you're a jiu-jitsu master yourself. So I want to bring out a little segment I got here. Okay, that didn't work. But this is the prediction time with Beneil Dariush. Before the fight even starts, Bo is known for his wrestling. Obviously, he takes the fight to the ground. PaulCraig is known for his in-guard game. So he submitted a lot of people. How do you see this fight going before these guys even get into the octagon? And how do you think they mitigate each other's grappling?
I think you'll see a little bit of striking, but I think Bo's going to take him down. I think Bo's very confident in his grappling. He had matches with guys like Gordon Ryan, who's considered to be the GOAT of no-gi, and he did well. The fight wasn't on the ground that much, but he did well. He had a bunch of takedowns, and he almost lasted the whole 15 or 20 minutes, and then finally was submitted in the last couple of minutes. So I don't think he's going to be too afraid of Craig's guard. I think this is what Craig's going to do. He's going to come out strong, striking hard, forcing Bo Nickal go for the takedown, and then he's going to hope to get something off of that. Maybe a guillotine, maybe work his triangles. It's actually really interesting to see a guy that big be that good at triangles because you don't see triangles that much in general, and then to see a guy who's that big and he has such a great triangle, it's very impressive.
Dude, I'll tell you, man, impressive. What about Jim Miller earlier in the night? I don't know if you saw this. He actually won via guillotine. I believe it's his 27th UFC win, 45th UFC fight. The guy's just like, hey, I got a great guillotine. I feel like PaulCraig's one of those guys. Got a great triangle.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable to see these guys being able to pull up these submissions that never happen anymore, really.
Yeah, Jim Miller is incredible because he's had to adapt. As you get older, you slow down. Your power isn't this. Actually, power sometimes goes up, but in general, it goes down. And he's been able to find ways to still win. Whether it's a decision or a finish, he still finds ways to win. And I find that very inspiring, to be honest with you.
So we got PaulCraig coming in here. A lot on the line here for PaulCraig, Benny. I mean, the fact is,
he's a lot taller too.
He's a big dude, but he's had a little bit of a slip here, and another loss could really sort of. I don't know. I feel like he's got a huge fan following behind him, so he'll probably stick around if he loses this one, especially because Bo is such a beast. But he really needs this win. It's a little bit of a rocky moment. I guess there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders going into this one.
He's not coming off of wins at 185?
PaulCraig, let's have a look at his record here. So, as I bring this up, and it's hard to tell because he's so polarizing that you kind of forget about the fact that he's had a little bit of a rough run. but he is coming off. So he lost to Caio Bahio.
Okay.
He was actually, he lost by Vaco. Yeah, he's kind of the future. He lost to Brendan Allen, another guy that via submission. Brendan Allen actually submitted him, and his last win was he did beat Andre Muniz via KO. So he's two fight losing streak, which isn't. He could still survive that, but it just depends what happens here tonight. I'd say.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. The pressure is on for sure. I could definitely speak on that. The pressure is on for him. It's not a place you want to be. So he looks, I don't like to watch embedded because I get too invested in one side, or I think based on the way their, the face looks or how their weight cuts looks or their demeanor, I get too invested in that. But, he looks good right now. He looks, he seems to have a good rhythm going. And Bo Nickal right now, I'm checking Bo Nickal out. He looks, I don't want to say nervous, but he doesn't look as confident as PaulCraig. So I think
it's interesting with Bo, man. It must be difficult. He's a guy that's come in. He's the best at one specific area. Never really got a chance to hone his skills because he kind of got thrown in the deep end straight away. And even though he's walking in there and as the favorite, there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders to really perform here, right? Like people are expecting him to go out here.
Is he really put like a 3-1 or 4-1 favorite?
Something like that, man. He's a real favorite here. And not only that, people are now talking about him as the man to potentially beat Hamzat. They think this is the guy that could beat Hamzat because of his wrestling.
He could. I mean, but people have to understand Hamzat is a great striker too. So he can beat Hamzat if he, uses all the skills, of course. But I see President-elect Trump right now. That was dope. Like to see him and Elon Musk and all the crew right there. I'm a big fan, so that was cool.
Yeah, man, he came out, huge ovation, shaking hands. Him and Joe Rogan had a special moment over there near the octagon. I know you and Donald, you guys, you're a big supporter. You've spent some time around him. You've been to a couple of his functions, right?
I've campaigned for him. So for this last election, I went to Arizona and Michigan to campaign for him. I haven't met him in person, but I will now for sure. I paid my dues, as they say. So I'm hoping to go see him in Mar-a-Lago or wherever. Actually, White House would be cooler. Hopefully, I get to see him in the White House.
Dude, that would be incredible, man. And you think he might be at one of the upcoming events that you'll be fighting at as well. One of the bummers of you not fighting, I guess, tonight is the fact that you could have spent a little bit of time with him.
That's true. I didn't think about it. It's okay.
No. I don't want to. This is better anyway. This live stream.
I'm not sour about that at all.
Who needs to fight at Madison Square Garden when you can be on a live stream with me? But by the way, Bruce Buffer there in a very sharp jacket. Isn't that guy just the craziest guy, man? For people that don't know, Bruce Buffer in the middle of the fights, between the fights, he's like warming up. He's like doing jumping jacks.
He's like,
what's it like when he announces your name in that octagon?
He truly loves what he does. And now I've gotten more used to it. But like when it first happened, I would be starstruck just because he's saying my name. And so, for a second, I would get caught off guard because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm here with Bruce Buffer. And he's telling the world who I am. It's pretty cool. But Bruce, man, I got to ride on a flight back with him one time. Super cool guy too.
Yeah, he was cool. You guys had a bit of a conversation.
Yeah, we chopped it up a bit. Sorry, but the fight's starting, so I'm getting into it. Bo's coming out, lots of fakes.
I feel like
he's gonna come over with the overpower shots soon.
What are you at now? 448?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fake.
This is interesting here from Bo. So he's coming out here and he wants to show off some of the new wrinkles in his game, I feel.
Yeah. So the fakes are good because it allows you to see what your opponent's going to do. I'm surprised how cautious Craig is being right now. So I didn't expect that.
Do you feel like Craig needs to take a bit more of an advantage here while the fight is standing?
Yeah, I guess you're right. He should be doing that. But at the same time, I think he's hoping to get a good counter now because you see him measuring with his lead hand. He's hoping to find that exactly like that. When Bo lunges in, he's hoping to find that counter right there. If he keeps eating those leg kicks, though, he's not going to have the power for a counter. So he needs to be careful with that.
Yeah, I like that. I like this. It's nice. Bo's showing a couple of things. So the leg kicks, very interesting there.
And Craig is, I think Craig needs to match those feints. It's a good idea to use your lead hand. Good inside leg kick. Your lead hand can set up everything. So whether you're feinting with it, whether you're moving forward and just kind of blocking your opponent's vision, it's a great idea. I think that's a great idea, especially he's so tall. But the leg kick is where I'm kind of worried because came over the top.
It's interesting, yeah, with the lead hand as well. You want to establish your jab and work off your jab, or that front kick and work off your front kick. And you're right, like he's just kind of standing there, but he's not really utilizing or maximizing that length right now.
I like what he's doing with his kicks. I think that's a great idea. He looks way bigger than Bo. So I think
he looks massive. He looks massive. And I was talking to Bo this week, and Bo was thinking of going up to light heavyweight after he's done with middleweight. And it's insane looking at this.
I don't know.
He looks tiny against PaulCraig in here. Like tiny.
Yeah, obviously he could bulk up. So I don't think that's the issue. But I think, the kicks seem to be, they're exchanging kicks. I think.
A little side kick there from Wonder Boy Bo Nickal.
Yeah. So you see that body kick? Whoever finds the range for the hands first is going to have success in the striking. But I wonder if there's going to be a takedown before that. Because look, they're all measuring to see where they could land the punches. But right now, everybody's just missing by like an inch. Everything's so close. Bo has come over the top multiple times so far.
It's interesting though, because Craig has secured, his KO TKO wins. So you'd think that he's coming in with a bit of, a bit of belief in what he's able to do here. Yeah. But
he doesn't seem like he wants anything to do with the ground.
But this is what happens sometimes, right? When you have two guys so specialized in the ground, when they stand with each other, it could end up being a two rounds of them standing around. And even though they look kind of like they've trained for it, it's obviously not as impressive as when you have guys like yourself and other people who are real sort of knockout artists standing, and it can kind of lead to a fight where not much happens for a few rounds,
So right now, I think they're still feeling each other out. I think the more experienced you are, the faster that happens. Guys can get into a rhythm a little bit faster and just believe in what they're going to do. If you notice, they're still staying at that kick range and really lunging in for the punches. But as soon as they get comfortable, that's when you're going to start to see some real damage with the hands. Right now,
I will say, PaulCraig, as experienced as he is in that octagon, the technique when he throws his strikes
right there.
Craig doesn't keep his arms up properly. He's not, when he throws his kicks, it's kind of like he's not bringing his leg back properly. A little bit lazy on the technique here from Craig. His chin's out when he throws.
A little bit of that, but I think what it is Bo's timing the kick. So if he can step in faster than the kick, he's going to land his punches, and that's what happened on that overhand. He was waiting for Craig to kick, and he was able to step in, which is a great way to counter kicks.
If Bo goes out here and knocks out PaulCraig, are you more impressed than if he went out there and just submitted him?
I would be more impressed. I don't know. It's hard to say. To say.
Round one is done. I think I've got Bo here. Slightly winning this one. How are you feeling about it?
He landed the better punches. Yeah, he landed the better punches. And, outside the few punches he landed, it was just an exchange of kicks.
If you're in the corner here for Bo, what are you telling him?
I tell him to keep faking and don't overplay that overhand, because you keep throwing it. Craig is going to find a counter, whether he raises his knee, whether he steps back and counters. Stop throwing the overhand. Look for combinations when you go in.
It's interesting with Craig as well. He has a very wide stance because obviously he's getting ready for that. Yeah, getting ready for that shot as well. But also that front leg is there to be grabbed. You know, like
he looks very confident right now from what I can see. I think he felt Bo's power. I think he, felt the exchanges, and he's feeling good right now. And it's hard to tell how Bo feels. He's got such a stoic face right now.
It's interesting with Craig here, man. You'd think he'd try to take out Bo's legs as well because of the fact that he won't be able to wrestle as well if that leg is if he's standing on a couple of wobbly legs there. But look at this. Bo's almost walking him down. He's trying to.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you see the game plan from Craig, I think it's kicks. They're throwing a lot of body kicks and head kicks, and he's keeping a kick distance.
It's funny because both guys are
forward, but then when Bo comes forward, he backs up. So it's
yeah. Well, because both guys are inexperienced with the striking, basically, when you're inexperienced, you don't know what your movement should be. So usually, you'd move into a range and you'd make the most of it. But both guys are kind of like in, but then they're not making the most of their shots and getting out, not making the most of the shots in. So they're kind of, you could tell that they're not as comfortable with it. With Craig, you'd think he'd get into a good groove here and just tee away. And with Bo, it's like, man, when you're in that pocket, land a couple of shots, throw a couple of combos. Don't just come in just to get hit and then work to,
Yeah. Here's what's happening in terms of their footwork. Craig is moving forward and back only. And even though Bo's trying to make angles for that, it's difficult when guy moves back. Did you see that knee over the?
Yeah.
So that was from the overhand. See that's what Bo needs to do. More fakes. The fakes will give him openings, but if he doesn't fake, he's going to get countered with a knee or something because he's just throwing the overhand all the time.
Yeah, and he's also backing out way too far. So he's getting in, he's doing the work to get in. There it is there, but then he backs out too far, and he's still in the range to get hit. So it's like, dude, stay in a range where you can still land shots without having to leap in every time,
Yeah, and, if you don't want the takedown because you're worried about the submissions, what about just clinching him after your strikes so you don't take any damage, things like that. But
well, you work him to the fence, right, Benny? I mean, you're a wrestler. You can work him to the fence and tire him out.
He took him all the way there. Craig is starting to notice Bo's habits. Whenever he comes in with an overhand and he's starting to raise his leg more.
It's interesting here from Craig because you'd think the adjustments are happening now. Like Bo has shown that he's only got about a couple of shots and a couple of movements here. You'd think Craig will start using more lateral movement, time those kicks, start picking him off a distance and maximizing his opportunities here because I see a lot of people have Nickal with the first round. So he's kind of really he's got to try and capture this round because the judges don't like it when they see a guy moving backwards.
But
it's just one of those MMA things.
But do you think the corner said, hey, you lost the round? Because I didn't hear what the corner said.
Probably not.
The first round was close. So that's why he feels maybe this is the way to move. And look, he tried an uppercut right now. He's trying to be more active. He with the weapons he has, he's really trying to use all of them. He's throwing all his punches. He's trying to avoid the takedown at the same time with the knees, with the uppercuts, and at the same time he can defend that overhand. So he's fighting a good fight. It just his opponent just might have more tools, and that's why you're seeing him struggle.
Yeah, so everyone tuning in right now, we are in round 2 with 1:22 to go. One other thing that happens is when you move backwards and you try to counter shot, sometimes the other guy gains momentum and you end up in a position where, because fighting backwards, what people don't realize is one of the hardest things you can do is fight backwards. And even masters like Israel Adesanya have been caught angling off the wrong way, moving backwards. So it's a real art that not many fighters can make. And if you do commit to fighting backwards, you better be ready to be careful not to get caught. And also be careful not to lose the round because the guy gets too much momentum and just controls you.
Two good left hooks by Craig, and he just threw another kick. Like he's landing well. He's
Bo's breathing deep here. It looks like he's breathing out the mouth.
It's because if striking's not your first, your best attribute, you're gonna get more tired. So I think he should really consider going for some takedowns.
Yeah, well, T Money's asking right here in the chat, why hasn't Bo taken this to the ground, Benny?
I would assume they're not confident in their grappling, or they think this is a safer bet to keep the fight standing, which I don't understand. I think both should take the fight to the ground for sure.
You'd think that as well with the guy. No, any decent takedown? None for both guys. Obviously, Craig.
Not a single attempt. Look, he's throwing a lot of overhands and switching stances, but he's also starting to get countered with uppercuts and knees.
The problem with Levi saying over the looping overhand, the problem with that shot as well is if you're in training and you're landing that shot a lot on guys, you almost get a like false sense of
yes.
You believe that shot's going to land every time. That is not a shot. I've been beaten up many times in the gym, and I love the overhand myself. That is not a shot you can bank your whole game plan on, because if it doesn't come and you don't have a backup, you can be in real trouble. What do you think the corner is telling PaulCraig right now?
I think for Craig, I would assume they're going to say, hey, put the pressure on. Put the pressure on. Your knees, your uppercuts, they're working, and, this could be your chance to finish him. If he keeps coming in on the overhand like that, you can get a chance to uppercut and put him in danger. But I think for Nickal, he needs to be a little bit more patient, more fakes, more angles, and stop trying to finish the fight with just an overhand. Throw some combinations in there.
So we got Toxic saying 1-1. It does feel like Paul landed some of the nicer shots in that second round. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 1 round each here, Benny.
Yeah, could be. Craig landed the better kicks, but it's hard with the judges. There was a lot of overhands landed by Bo as well.
And it's interesting as well, because I wonder if Bo's corner is now telling him to maybe take Craig down in this round, at least attempt to take down. If you don't go for one takedown in this fight, or you lose this thing on the cards, you'd feel like you'd. Well, look at this, Bo throwing a kick.
Yeah, he's throwing combo and following it up with leg kicks. It's a great idea. If your combos don't reach because your opponent is taller, the leg is going to be there. So that's a great idea. Mix up your
especially if they don't want you to take him down. They've got that wide stance.
Yeah. So at the end of your combinations, you could throw a kick. It's just when he throws one shot, that's what I think that's more dangerous, because if you just throw one here, one there, eventually your opponent's going to find out your timing.
It's interesting here from Craig. So he's still sort of. What happened here?
Bo seems to think he's he's very confident here. He probably thinks he's ahead, and you don't know what the is.
So Bo's moving around. He's got his hands completely down. He's ducking in, and that's just a recipe for Craig to kick him in the head, Leon Edwards style.
Yeah.
Sometimes guys need to just really work on their fundamentals in these situations, because even if they don't get caught today, they will be caught eventually. And if I'm Craig here, I'm trying to line up that head kick.
I would say keep going to the body. Go 3-4 more times, and then when you really feel him defending that, go for the head, because he has the length to throw that kick as many times as he wants without being in danger. He's thrown a right kick over 10 times, I would say, in this fight, and he's never been countered. So I would say keep throwing that. And when your opponent really starts to, grinch in terms of defense, that's when you go high. Oh, he went high right there.
Yeah, nice. And for those that don't realize it, Beniel, even when you block those kicks, you still feel it, huh?
Yeah.
It goes right through your body.
Look at his arm. It's red.
Yeah, kills your arm.
Yeah.
It's interesting here, man. Bo's just having basically like an amateur Muay Thai fight with Craig.
Yeah.
When you watch the Amis and it's like, all right, a couple of guys just having a crack at it. No takedowns thus far. Justin DL, the fact that Craig is in round 3 without defending a takedown is insane. Oh, he landed that overhand, but not enough follow through from the hips on that one.
I can't tell if he's actually hurt or if he's looking for a counter. Because look, this is. I feel like even something could happen here, but more than likely they're just going to get off the wall again.
God, man. I just think this is insane. Bo's got him up against the fence. Why not just close that distance with a shot and grab a hold of him here? Okay. So Craig's out now.
Yeah. So when you have somebody against the wall and you feel that they're looking to counter, your best is to get off the line, he's a southpaw, so step on the outside and throw some straight punches. But it's easier said than done in the heat of the moment right now. But both guys are fighting well, I think, for their skill set as far as striking goes.
Another head kick there.
You see all those kicks? Those kicks are adding up. This is a really close fight, and I think it shouldn't be if Bo uses all his weapons.
Yeah, man. Well, in the comment section, let us know who you think is winning this round. It does kind of seem like Bo. I don't know, man. Craig's landed some good kicks. Bo landed that overhand.
There's
significant strikes by 2.
The last 2 rounds were really close, and then Craig threw way more kicks. So I don't know, man. It's a really close fight.
It's interesting, though, as well, because we'll talk about it afterwards, but I'm not sure this is the kind of fight that's really I feel like people have big expectations from Bo, right? Yeah. So even if he wins this as a decision.
They want to see a Hamzat-style win,
Yeah. And I think it's hard to talk about him versus Hamzat watching this fight, as great of a grappler as Bo is.
I agree.
Okay, so if you're Craig here, you got your last 19 seconds. As someone who's been in there many times yourself, do you realize it when it's the last seconds? Do you try and change your game plan if you're in there for those last 10 seconds?
I don't know if he knows he's losing. He might be thinking he's winning. That's the problem. Ooh, he got hurt.
Yep. All right, wow. So that is the end, ladies and gentlemen. That is the end of the 3rd round. An incredibly close fight between PaulCraig and Bo Nickal as he... Hello! Hi.
This is my oldest, Alva. She decided that she's now in this.
Alva, who did you think won that fight? Did you think Bo or Craig won it?
I'll tell you, I don't know if you don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, she's not so sure.
I don't think any of us know, so that's a good answer. And right now, Bo Nickal speaking to Donald Trump and showing everybody his golf swing. But I think, mate, is he celebrating a little prematurely here, Beniel? Is he celebrating? Oh, by the way, Atomic says, "So cute, Benny. God bless your family." Yeah.
Thank you, brother. I would
say family and MMA.
I believe Bo won, but it could go the other way. It's really that close.
And we got Elon Musk there as well. So quite a powerful duo watching the fights.
Bro,
let's have a look here.
Yeah.
They show that replay.
Body shot. At the end of the round, he hurt Craig. Was that it? I'm not sure.
Was that it there?
It might have been an overhand. At the end of the round, he lands an overhand, and I think he was actually hurt.
I think that Bo might have done enough in that last round, depending on what the judges think, to win it. But if Craig does get the call here, I'd be kicking myself if I'm Bo Nickal.
Yeah, I think this is
not
where
utilizing my full skill set.
Yeah, it was a good fight. I think Craig did, quite well fighting a guy like Bo Nickal, who people think is the future of the division.
Here we go. They got the comparisons. Interesting to see that Bo Nickal landed 16 leg kicks, because Craig was definitely the one with the more devastating kicks throughout the fight that were more noticeable. But look at that. Very close in a lot of the areas.
Yeah.
Here we go.
29-28 for Nickal. That's my opinion.
29-28 for Nickal. Yeah. And that's just like Moko over here, who has the same thoughts as you. Throw in your scorecards in the comment section if you think either man won. Big Dan, do you have a favorite referee, by the way, Benny, that you like?
I like Mike Beltran just because of his beard. That's it. There it is.
There it is, Bo.
30-27 though. Well, I guess I was wrong.
I think that is probably not the right scorecard, but it's still a win for Bo. Let's have a look at what Bo has to say here as we react to the post-fight interview with the mighty Joe Rogan. The crowd is booing Bo.
Yeah. Yeah, he's 7-0, man. It's very young.
He says he dominated him. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I agree.
So Joe's asking if basically this is a part of him building experience.
I think it was very good for him to have 15 minutes in that octagon, because I don't think any of his fights have gone the decision, right? So I think this is actually super good for him. If you know, he knows now if the fight goes 3 rounds, he can go 3 rounds.
Right. So you believe that him and his team knew they could potentially comfortably beat Craig with the grappling, and wanted to sort of try out maybe a new area of his game before he gets thrown in the deep end with the rest of the guys?
Honestly, I don't understand why they didn't go for a takedown. Even if they believed he was the better striker, they wanted him to get experience, but at least try for some takedowns at the end.
We got Ethan Oliver, 30-27. That was a crazy scorecard. Definitely not as dominant as both things.
Yeah.
We got designated driver. Yoel Romero was a wrestler who never wrestled. Any thoughts? Well, Yoel Romero possessed crazy striking and an ability to move around like a jungle cat. So I don't think this is the right comparison. Yeah.
So I had
and also he would let people take him down just to get tired. Remember that? Like the guy was just insane.
He did that to Derek Brunson, I think.
Yeah.
And also Yoel Romero, if my insider information is true, he has some serious neck injuries, and so like he focused more on defensive wrestling than offensive wrestling the latter end of his career.
By the way, Gladiator 2 looks like a great movie. We got Atomic asking, where's Casper? We haven't seen him in a while. So for people that haven't seen, Casper's actually done doing the show regularly. He had a couple of small health issues with his back, and he had a really successful business. But Casper will still be doing the live coverage. The next one's going to be 312 in Sydney, so tune in for that. And obviously, he's one of my best friends, and we both created Submission Radio together. So no matter what happens, he's always going to be a part of the show. Caleb, go Beniel. Although he misspelled your name, we appreciate the love. And there you are, Beniel, number 8, as they show the top lightweights. And it was to get ready for Charles Oliveira. Yeah. Let's talk about this fight for just a second, man. Let me click this little graphic here. Does that work? No, it doesn't. Okay. No. Let me ask you this, Beniel. Before we go into this fight, how do you feel about Charles Oliveira coming back against Michael Chandler? What do you think about this fight being made here?
I believe he's got a really good shot to win this. I definitely favor him over Michael Chandler. I think he's been more active. He's been fighting a lot of tough guys. And, you know, Michael's most dangerous round is his first round. If he gets past the first round, I think he's going to be in a good spot, basically.
You've been in there with Charles Oliveira yourself. And who knows, down the track, you guys might match up again. I'd love to see you guys do the rematch. But What is something about Oliveira that you think people don't really understand, that you can't really understand unless you're in that octagon with him?
You know, he's stronger than you would expect. He didn't take me down, but there was a moment where we locked up, and he lifted me up, and almost he tried to take me down with a lift. He ended up on the bottom, but he felt very strong in the tie up. And he even took down Michael Chandler when they fought the first time. So that really tells you about, you know, his strength. That's not an easy thing to do, to take down Michael Chandler. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, how the first round goes. I think that's really the round I'm most interested in seeing, because is Charles going to just not respect Chandler and go forward? I think that would be not the best idea, but that's also how he fights. He's a guy who kind of bites down on his mouthpiece and goes forward. He throws his knees, he throws his kicks, he elbows, and he really puts forward a Muay Thai striking clinic. I don't know if that's a good idea in the first round with Chandler, because Chandler's best round is always his first round.
It's interesting, man. You mentioned that because in their first fight, Chandler had some success against Charles, right? It looked like he kind of stunned him there for a second, and then Charles came back and stopped him. How different do you think will this fight look now that we're a little bit down the track here? That first one happened May 15th, 2021, UFC 262. Age, life changes. Chandler waiting 25 years for Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
What are you expecting from this version of these guys?
I think in my mind, I think Chandler's going to struggle a lot today, but obviously I could be wrong. He could finish in the first like like he's done before. And the reason why I think he's going to struggle is because he's been preparing to fight at 170. And now all of a sudden he's got to cut all this weight, go down to 55, and he's got to fight a real contender, a powerhouse in Charles Oliveira. So
I know
it's going to be a good fight, but I really believe Charles has the skills to pull it off. As I say that, it's going to go the other way.
Do you think the winner of this should get the next title shot after Arman, or do you want to see them get this BMF title fight instead?
It's a good question. I think after Makhachev and Sarukian fight, there's going to be some time, So I would wait to let it play out a little bit more, because these guys could get a title shot, or somebody else could work their way up to a title shot. So it might be too quick to toss one of these guys in, because I believe if Makhachev wins in January, he'll wait till October to fight again.
You know what, man? One thing I didn't mention as we prepare for the guys to come out and we prepare for round one to start is potentially the guy that loses this fight, they could potentially be a good option for you as well, man, next, right? You and Oliveira too, or you and Chandler. Those are great potential fights for you next year.
Yeah, I mean, don't get my hopes up. It's not easy to find top 5 guys, but that would be wonderful.
All right, we got Michael Chandler walking out here. What do you feel for Chandler here, for what he's had to go through with Conor McGregor? It's almost like you lose potentially. I would say he lost the prime of his, like 2 years of his career towards the end in his prime. He's coming back here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 35, you're 35. We're both born around the same time. I do not feel the same. Like 35, I start feeling, I just can't recover the same. I don't feel as good. That's 2 years that he's lost out of his prime because this fight couldn't come together.
Yeah, I think you're right. Those are 2 really good years he's lost. Some people would definitely consider them your prime years. So, obviously, I think his decision was wrong, but this is hindsight is 2020. You go back then, you say, well, it makes sense to wait. Conor is a big fight, but who knows if Conor's ever going to fight? But looking back, obviously, I can say it was the wrong choice, because he didn't get to fight for 2 years and he just waited. I know he did the Ultimate Fighter, but we provide by fighting. So I think he on his end it was a mistake.
What's interesting, man? As Chandler still gets, by the way, physically he's looking crazy.
Yeah, he looks really strong,
like insane. You know what's interesting? You know what's interesting, man? I think you and Conor McGregor would be a great fight. I'm being. Conor likes guys who are respectful and nice, which is what you are. He also likes a challenge, which is what you are. And what better way to get things going? You get in there, you beat McGregor, you're right back in there. He beats you. You're a really respected name. He gets back in there. I don't know.
I see what you're saying.
It'd be a great fight for him. Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I think in reality, if he fights, it's not going to be at 55, right? So if the option is there to fight him, it would be at 170, which is great. But in reality, I know there's been talks of him and Dan Hooker, or at least they've been, tweeting at each other or saying things to each other. So that could be a potential fight as well. I totally forgot about that.
Spam feeder. That would be a great fight, actually. I'm already getting some heat, some steam behind this Beniel and Conor McGregor fight. So there you go. If you get the fight after the stream, just remember, at least this was worthwhile.
Yeah, you're not going to complain about fighting Conor. I think that would be a great fight to have on the resume. But it's like the lottery thing. I'm not planning on buying tickets just because I don't think I have a good chance.
Yeah, we got a shout out here from Caleb. God bless you, Beniel. Can't wait to see you fight again.
Thanks, brother. Lord bless you.
And thanks for watching, Caleb. Do you reckon if you, as Charles Oliveira walks out right now, do you think if you were in the same position as Chandler and you had to wait for that much time, you would do it? Or would you just move it along? Like if McGregor canceled the first time on you, would you just be like, nah, man, I'm not wasting 2 years waiting? Would you have played it differently?
I believe so, but I'm not in that position. It's different when you're in the actual position. It's a lot easier to speak from outside of it. So, but I believe I would have fought. I would have moved on. It's hard to say.
We got Charles Oliveira here. He's getting back into that ring. I think the crazy thing about Charles is, man, that weight cut, he legitimately looks like he's about to die cutting weight. Did you know, like, even when you were doing Fight Week with him, like, he looks like he's about to die in Fight Week. It doesn't look natural.
He's got a deathly look to him, almost like a Grim Reaper. So I think if with the suit and everything, I think he makes a really good Grim Reaper. That could be his next nickname, if you ask me.
I can't believe that the guy used to fight a featherweight. Isn't that just insane? I have a theory where I think he would do better at maybe giving welterweight a crack. I think this weight cut does impact him. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I think he's a good size for welterweight.
170, he's tall enough. I think you're not wrong. I think you could definitely make it happen.
All right, we've got round 1 starting up very, very soon. Charles and Chandler. I love the respect between the two guys. It's just one of those things where Chandler's had how would you describe Chandler's UFC career, right? He's won a couple, he lost 3, but he came in to kind of get that Conor McGregor fight and be like a big name in the division, and I guess he's accomplished that. And also his style, he could wrestle, but he chooses to bring in this crazy style where he just runs at people. Do you think it's paid off? Do you think it was a good idea to sort of go this route for him?
Depends. If you're looking for the big money fights, I think it's paid off. The fact that he was even scheduled to fight with Conor McGregor tells you that it did pay off. But I think if you're talking about just winning, I think he could have done a lot better in his fights with Justin Gaethje, and he did well against his fight against Charles. I think he just started to slow down in the second round. So, but I think he could have definitely won that fight with Justin Gaethje if he implemented the takedowns a little bit more, because I believe he won the first round from looking back, and then things kind of started to go the other way.
Yeah, Gaethje Poirier, he had a decent. Couple of decent moments in there against him.
Yeah,
it's crazy to see him to see that he's 38, man. Do you ever think about age when it comes to your fighting career? Like, do you have an age where you'd like to stop doing it, or is it just like fight by fight how you feel?
Fight by fight, basically. But I mean, I think there's gonna come a day where I walk in that octagon and I'm just not gonna feel it, and I think that's gonna be a good indicator. But as far as body goes right now, you're mentioning about like, hey, I'm hurting. It's harder to wake up. I have such a good routine that I'm still able to train just about the way I used to. I don't think I've changed much with my training. I get to go pretty hard just about every day, which is great, but also involves a lot of recovery, ice bath, sauna, eating well all the time. So the liver, the heart, whatever, all that stuff. If you take the extra care, your body holds up well.
I gotta say that as well. Having a kid has absolutely made me age 20 years. I don't know how you have 2 kids, man. I got a 2-year-old and he's just running wild. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, my 3-year-old is actually easier now than my 18-month-old. My 18-month-old, she's a machine.
They must be excited for the new baby. For those that didn't check out the start of the stream, Beniel is expecting a 3rd baby any day now, so we're super excited to have him here.
Yeah.
And Denis is a great name, Beniel.
Denise
is a great name. Denis, Denis. Why not? Keep the legacy alive, brother.
I'll consider it, because my wife and I are still trying to figure out names, and she said I gave a couple of names and she didn't like. I said Judith. She's like, no, it's an old lady name. And then she's like Lily. I was like, oh, okay, I like Lily. That's a nice name. And then she's like, never mind. If you like it, I don't like it. I was like, all right. It wouldn't be childish about it. And then she said Mila, and I was like, nah, I don't like that. It sounds like
Mila. There's a thing called Milo here in Australia, which is like Nesquik. So I don't know if that plays. Milo. We have this thing called Milo. Let's see if I can show it here.
Mila is we have like a diuretic called Milax. So
that's not gonna work.
Yeah, she says it's Miralax, but here we go.
Here we go. All right, guys. So round 1 has just started. Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira, and we are reacting to it live. I love how Mike just wears the black trunks, man. He's got that Mike Tyson thing to him.
Yeah. Look at the way he loads up. You know he wants to explode. That's just who he is. The way he fakes and he loads up his hips, he's gonna jump in. Oh,
what do you make of the movement if you're from Oliveira? He's kind of moving back here.
Yeah, I think he's basically taking the approach of take it easy the first round, don't rush. Let it to play out little by little, and then start to take over a second and third. I think that's the approach he's taking, but I could be wrong.
But is he looking for Chandler to walk onto a shot here? Because last time we saw Chandler kind of walked onto that hook, I think, or that right hand.
I think what he's doing is he's hoping to strike from a distance that Chandler can't reach him. So a lot of push kicks, leg kicks, high kicks. Almost that's the distance he's looking for. He's not really using his hands too much yet. A lot of it is just kicks.
What's interesting here from Chandler is he's really struggling to get into that pocket so far, right? Yeah. He's a little bit stuck on the outside. He every time he tries to go in, and look at this.
That's
Chandler.
A good idea. That's a great idea.
Wow. Okay, so Chandler's just got. Oliveira's just got Chandler down. I would probably let that leg go. What would you do here?
No. You keep the leg. You let the leg go. Chandler could pop out the back. He holds on to that leg. He could use his left hand to start doing damage. If he lets go of that leg, Chandler's going to explode out.
So what are you doing here? You're holding onto the leg and then you hit him with the other arm, or are you going to a different position? You're going to try and...
The problem is the wall. The wall is in the way of actually it's in the way of both of them. But for Charles, you want to get your left leg back and settle into that position, while Chandler he wants to explode out from the back and look to take the back. But I think Charles will settle for just keeping this top position, putting all his weight on Chandler and starting to look, to put some damage with his left hand. Look, there it is. It's not a great position to ground and pound from. And if he wants it to be a better position, he has to take out his right hand, but then he risks losing the top position.
It's interesting here as well. It looks like he's
stuck. I can't tell if it's his hand stuck or he's just leaving it there on purpose to not let his opponent get out. Okay, his hand is out now.
He's trying to work. Is he trying to work here to a single or a mount here?
So he wants to pass guard. He wants to go to side control or mount. It's just the way Chandler's leg is. It's this in wrestling. Sometimes this happens nowadays in folk style, and it's kind of a stalling position. But in jiu-jitsu too, in a way, this is almost 50-50. It's not really 50-50, but some consider it a stalling position. But there's a lot of submissions here as well. It's a bit modified. So for Charles, it makes more sense to pass.
This is interesting here. So he's got Chandler up against the cage. If you're Chandler right now, what are you doing?
He's going to look for the smallest space that he can make, and he's going to look to explode up.
Yeah, because that leg is towards the side there for Charles as well. So with the right angle, he could explode out. It's interesting. The judges, though, I think they would look at this as Oliveira.
This is for sure Oliveira's round so far.
And we've got Justin DL. This is top tier analysis by Beniel. He should be on the broadcast of the UFC. That's what I've told you before, man. I think this is like an audition here for you. Yeah,
I appreciate that. It's nice because when I speak it out, it's it's actually less stressful watching this. Charles is keeping his head down, putting a lot of pressure, is because he wants to take this round, and I think he wants to just be heavy on Chandler and slow him down. I think he realizes if he has a crazy round in the first, it's more dangerous. This is a really smart game plan on his part. The fact that he even shot is, I mean, it doesn't surprise me because he did it the last fight. I'm surprised how much success he had with it and how early.
Yeah, he's trying to get up high. He was using his Chandler's head there to get up a little bit higher. So I wonder what he's looking for here, potentially to grab an arm. But the interesting thing about Oliveira here is I think he himself was like, oh my God, my leg is stuck towards the side. And he didn't quite know what to do in that position. It's a weird position. But so what are we looking at here? Definitely round one to Charles, right?
Yes. So I think you'll see Chandler take more risks, and so will Charles, because Charles believes now his power has gone down a bit, and he's going to be able to catch him like he did last time, or he's going to continue the same game plan: fight from a distance, look for takedowns. That was a really smart game plan to start the first round, and I think he can continue to keep doing that.
And this is a 5-rounder as well, so
it is. This is a 5-round fight.
That's right, man. It's the co-main, 5 rounds. So tiring Chandler out isn't a bad idea.
Yeah, Charles is very smart on his side. I'm sure the coaches really thought this through.
Okay, so let me get this banner going. So everybody tuning in, we're about to go into the second round of this co-main event.
Last time the fight ended right away in the second round. So let's see how this goes right here.
Yes.
Oh, no. My connection's been perfect. I hope ESPN doesn't mess it up all of a sudden. It's not the time. Good leg kicks from Charles.
Not the time. That's right.
Yeah. You see, Charles is fighting at a far distance using a lot of his kicks. And he's just keeping his hands real tight just in case Chandler explodes on him. Hands high, works kicks. And then whenever you come in, it's always a right hand counter. If you watch, whenever Chandler throws the jab, he goes for a right hand counter.
That's interesting, man. I love the analysis here. If you're Oliveira, what are you thinking? Oh! Did he catch him, or was that a slip?
It was a combination, and then he slipped on the wall.
Okay.
He did land a combination. It wasn't like he didn't land. Ooh, this is dangerous now.
What do you call this? The run around to get position.
Yeah, he's trying to find. See what Charles is doing? He's throwing all his strikes from a distance where Chandler can't get him. If Chandler isn't able to step in on these strikes, he's gonna just get picked apart.
Okay, so if you're Oliveira right here, what are you thinking?
Just keep doing what you're doing from a distance. Hook cross, beautiful. Everything needs to be straight punches are, I think, going to be the weapon to use. Straight punches and kicks.
It's interesting as well. Chandler's shots, man, they don't really have much behind him right now. Are we looking at a Chandler who is a little bit tired, a little bit potentially needs a couple of years out of the octagon?
Ooh, knee.
Oh. The way Chandler's throwing his shots right now, it looks like there's nothing behind them. It looks like he's just kind of...
He's throwing power, but he has no setup.
All right. So Oliveira here, what's he doing here? Do you think he's luring Michael in for a counter? Or
Wow.
Wow. Into mount.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So Charles Oliveira has just taken Michael Chandler down. He is in mount. We are in round 2 with 2 minutes and 38 seconds to go. Beniel, if you're Oliveira here, what are you working for? Chandler is right up against the fence.
I would say wear him out for the next minute and a half, or actually 2 minutes, and then look for the submission in the last 30 seconds. So that way, if you lose the position, you don't take a whole lot of damage when you're on bottom.
Do you like to go for a submission from here? Are you more of a let me just pound this guy out? Let me just throw strikes from this position. I mean, he's up against the cage. Hard to get out.
It depends on what he's given me. If he's given me in a way he's giving me his arms and his neck, I would look for an arm triangle or possibly an arm bar. But if he's not, I'm not gonna force it. I'm gonna go for the ground and pound.
So we've got 1 minute and 53 seconds here. He's trying to go high here. It's almost like
look, he's looking at posture because he can both damage, and if he slides his knees up, that's where the submissions come in.
Yeah, and also if the guy's trying to hip out from underneath you, much harder to do if those knees are higher. And I imagine Chandler would be very explosive from that position, trying to create the space to get out. This is an extremely exhausting position if you're on the bottom, isn't it?
Yes, if you're on bottom, not an ideal situation for you.
Okay, so we got 1 minute and 18 seconds here left. Charles Oliveira is just kind of chilling here, man, and waiting for the right moment.
He's picking the right shots.
Okay, it looks like he's setting up an armbar.
He tried the armbar. You see how he moves his knees up? That locks in it's called an S mount. He's trying to lock in an S mount, which is a good idea. And Chandler avoided it just by moving his hips back, moving himself back. But now he's taking damage. He's taking some serious damage. Ooh, dropped a big elbow.
Dude, massive elbows here. And I think he's realized Chandler's tight here. And the submission isn't going to be that easy. What's he going for over here? So he's putting the hooks in behind the legs.
I don't think he wants to go for the submission anymore because of the wall. So now I think he's going to work more on damage. Every once in a while, he hugs the head and arm to make sure there's no space for him to explode.
He's going for an arm triangle here.
Explosion. So that's why he grabs the head and arm. It makes it a lot harder to explode out if you're holding the head and arm.
Right.
So
it looked like he was almost looking for that arm triangle for a second ago. Okay, so it looks like Chandler will survive this round, but this was a very dominant round for Charles Oliveira. And if you're going into Chandler's corner right now, like let's say he's one of the King's Anaheim fighters, what are you saying to Chandler here? Because he's down 2 rounds. He's been dominated in all areas. What do you do?
I would tell him, listen, if you're going to circle, that's fine. But when it's time to strike, you step in with those strikes. And I don't want a single strike. I want a minimum of 2 strikes, ideally 3-4 strikes every time you step in. Because he's throwing one and running off. He's throwing one, running off. And then he's so far away, he's getting leg kick. He's getting teep to the body. And so in an ideal situation, he either presses forward and uses that, or he moves out, and then when it's convenient for him, he jumps in and then uses his strike. So he's got to find a way to cover that distance. That's where the problem is. And there's 2 ways to do that. You either pressure and you corner your opponent, or you jump in at the right moment.
It's interesting here because it's like Oliveira is basically his fight to lose here, right? He could still get caught, obviously. Are you expecting a more strategic version of Oliveira here, or do you think he's going to keep trying to dominate?
He's fighting such a smart fight. Look, he's fighting with his kicks, with his teeps right now, because goes for the leg. He doesn't want to exchange hands because that's Chandler's only opportunity. It's not like he can't win exchanging hands, but it just he rather fight from a distance, which genius, I think. Whoever did his game plan, they really did a good job. Good push kick.
Chandler is looking.
He's missing. That's the only thing with Chandler. Like if these punches that he throws land, it would actually you would see. You'd be like, oh man, Chandler's doing really well if these land, because he's such a powerful guy, but he's missing by an inch.
That's the crazy thing about Chandler fighting a welterweight when he was going to fight McGregor. I mean, obviously McGregor can't make lightweight, but he doesn't look very big even for lightweight. 5'8", and that reach.
He's a thick boy though.
Here we go. So Oliveira looks like he's trying to measure something. Oh no, looked like Chandler hurt his leg there for a second, just walking across the cage.
Look. When Charles walks him down and starts using just his hands, he gets caught.
Oh, that uppercut.
Beautiful
stuff. Did he just use an elbow? Did he just elbow his arm away?
The down elbow, which is
to his arm.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
We're at a punching. Charles is allowing the punching range to happen now. And, Chandler is actually landing this round. He's not winning the round, but he's actually landing for once. But he's also taking a ton of damage. I think Charles doesn't feel danger from him anymore. So he's really going after it.
Wow, look at this. Another takedown attempt
I'm kind
here.
of surprised he shot. He was in such a good position.
And this could be Chandler obviously holding onto the fence there.
Yeah.
Rough refereeing. All right. This is possibly the worst place it could be, right?
Yeah, this could be over right here. I know he's hard to choke because he's got a small, stockier build and a short neck. So it's not easy to choke him, but it's not fun to have a guy on your back for the next 2.5 minutes and you're just defending.
This is insane stuff. So if you're tuning in right now, we're in round 3 of Oliveira versus Chandler. Oliveira has dominated, and now he's got Chandler's back here working for a choke. He's going over the chin, trying to do that. It didn't work out, but yeah, a bit of a Hamzat, crush the jaw a little to try and get the arm in. Chandler, a professional, holding that arm for dear life.
Yeah. And actually the wall is favoring right now Chandler because Oliveira can't completely extend his back, and that actually allows Chandler to be better at defense. Another problem that Oliveira has is his head. His head is above Chandler's head, so it's really hard to get under the neck. You want to be ear to ear in an ideal situation. Ooh, look at those elbows. That's a good idea now.
It's an interesting one. He's a little bit high here as well, isn't he, Charles? But he had an opportunity here to go back to mount. He wants to stay on the back. He wants to see this through, I think.
I think when he tried to go to mount, Chandler really fought it. Man, wow. It says Chandler hasn't had a single strike this round.
If you've got Chandler's back yourself here and he's going the one arm over your arm, how you set up the rear naked choke here, Benny?
So really what you want to do is break the grips on your hands and then go across the chin, right? But you see how constantly Chandler has his right hand.
Yeah, he's got both arms holding off for dear life.
And his right arm is defending the punches. So you have to find a way to deal with that left hand of Chandler's. If you can get rid of that left hand, then your ability to choke goes up. Gloves make things a lot harder. When there's no gloves, it's just your hands and sweat. It goes through a lot easier. But the worst part is it's just the ear thing. Because Charles's head is above Chandler's head, it's going to be really hard for him to get the rear naked choke. If it stays in this position, I don't see him getting the choke. If he gets closer to ear, then it could happen. Even here, yeah.
I mean, it's just a painful place to be when you got that figure 4 across your body. He's just let it go, but that absolutely sucks.
Yeah. Now
he's gone the palm to palm. He tried to go the palm to palm across the jaw.
Now it's a little bit better. It's just the wall is not ideal.
It looks like Chandler will survive here. But I would say this is one of the most impressive Charles Oliveira performances in a couple of years.
Yeah, fantastic.
Would you say that this version of Charles, are you interested in seeing this version of Charles Oliveira potentially fight Islam if he does beat Arman?
I mean, I'm more interested in fighting this version of Charles, but yes, I would love to see that fight. It just depends on who wins, Arman Tsarukyan or Islam Makhachev. That's a great fight as well.
And there you go. You got Chandler sitting there. What about the ring rust? Do you think this was a factor for Chandler, or was it just that Charles Oliveira was just super sane here?
He's fighting a way better fight than he usually does, Charles. He's not taking risks like he usually does, and so that's why you're seeing him be so dominant. Yeah, so Charles looks great. This is definitely, some people say this is what he lacked, is basically executing a good game plan. He would just go out there and have these crazy fights, and obviously he won those fights, but this is, I think he's filling a gap that he had before.
So for everybody tuning in right now, we are reacting to Charles Oliveira beating Michael Chandler. They haven't read out the scorecards yet. Oh, actually, what am I saying? It's going into the 4th round.
Yeah.
What am I saying? I thought it was 3 rounds for. All right, so we're going into. Okay.
Yeah, Charles is not taking any risk. He wants this takedown. He wants to have a safe finish. safe fight. Don't take damage.
If you're Oliveira, is it a problem that you didn't take? Is it a problem that you didn't go for the finish more in those dominant positions? Chandler is obviously still in the fight, or do you just take it slow and just go as it comes?
I think he was trying to finish. I just think he was not in an ideal situation as far as his head position goes. So he did damage instead. Not a bad idea. He's doing well right now. He's back in control. He's not taking damage, keeping his hands high because he knows that's where Michael Chandler is most dangerous. Is just he finds
flying knee.
Ooh. See, this is what I mean. It's the punching range that Chandler has the best chances. Whenever Charles backs out, he's easily finding his counters. He doesn't need to go that close, but for whatever reason, he's so confident he keeps doing that.
Is it interesting to you that Charles has just basically decided, I'm just going to keep taking this guy down now? Chandler's obviously a good wrestler, but Oliveira is just showing his level here, isn't he? You were saying he felt strong.
Yeah, he felt strong, and then he also, like, Chandler doesn't wrestle in his fights. He just assumes no one's going to take him down, and he's going to just be able to do his thing with striking. I think Charles is showing what a complete fighter looks like, and Charles is dominating. I don't think Chandler's going to be able to get out of this position again. If Charles locks up a body triangle, he'll be stuck here for another 3 minutes again, and then there goes another round, and it'll be 4-0.
If you're Michael Chandler right here, what are you doing? He's trying to fight the leg here. He fought the leg.
Take the hook out, but watch your neck. Take the hook out, and see if you can tripod up maybe. So now that the hook is out, I believe his left hook is out. He should put his Chandler should put his left leg up and take that hook again, and then push the hip off.
The worst thing about this position when you go up on your arms is you can sneak that arm through as you try to posture up. But here we go. It's on the side here. He's got the figure 4 here. No, yep, he's trying to lock it in around the back here, but he decided just to go there.
So Charles, I think, here needs to go ear to ear if he wants this finish. The more Chandler lowers his body, the harder it is to finish, and the more he can, I don't want to say relax here for Chandler, but the more he can focus on escaping.
This is an absolutely, not only for Chandler is the fact that, he's had this layoff, but this has been a very grueling fight for him. Obviously, he's trying to get out of these positions.
Nice, almost.
No, he's just so good. And
Charles might not be locking up the body triangle because his legs are actually tired. So that could be why he's not getting the body triangle. Right now, he has an opportunity to get out. He should look to tripod up while holding that hand and wrestle out of there. Now, don't waste your time punching. You're going to get yourself in trouble punching.
How do you get out of this position if you're Chandler, though? He's got that leg down.
So he had the leg out. He should have pushed the hand to the ground and tripoded up.
Yeah, and right now he's crossing his legs over. Quickly put that arm up, put that leg over there.
Yeah. So.
Oh, boy.
I think Chandler's going to stand up now and try to slam him. But in standing up, he risks getting choked too. See?
This is just no man's land over here. If you're tuning in right here, this is brutal. This is risky from Chandler, just letting him. He's just kind of letting him put that up.
Yeah.
Wow. He's fighting the hand a little bit, but that's.
The only reason Charles is not getting this is his head is too high. Now he's ear to ear. If he goes back to the choke now, he might have a better chance.
Wow. Look at this. This is, I mean, if Conor McGregor is watching this right now, he must be kicking himself. I don't know if this is still the fight that's going to happen. So Michael Chandler here, I think he's going to make it out to the end of the round. But
that being said, I think Charles is going to go for an armbar at the end of this.
All right, let's have a look here. So we got 13 seconds. Let's see if Charles goes for it. Is he going to throw that leg over, push Chandler's head?
No,
go for it.
Playing it safe. He's just keeping his position.
Okay, wow. Drop your reactions in the comment as we watch this, but we've got a bunch of comments about McGregor watching this and what his reaction would be. We got some people saying that 2 years off might have been a bit too much for Chandler. And I just think Oliveira just leveled up here, Benny. What do you think? Do you think it was the layoff? Do you think it's Oliveira and just where he's at? Do you think it's Chandler maybe not coming in as crazy as before, not finding that success with his striking earlier on in the fight? What do you think it is?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think Charles has leveled up. I think Chandler was trying to be more technical, not realizing his best bet as far as striking goes was to explode early on. And that's just, game plans, man. Game plans make such a big difference if you follow them. And Charles is following the game plan. He's fighting from a distance. And now he doesn't have to fight from a distance because Chandler's tired. He could go in and take more risks.
So we're going into the 5th fight here. And I guess the thing with Chandler is he can catch people, but you'd be so tired here. If you're in Chandler's corner, what are you telling him here? Because I think Charles is coming in for the takedown.
Go for broke. Go for broke.
Just get into that pocket and land.
You got 5 minutes. You've lost 20 minutes of the fight. You got to throw whatever you can. Combinations. Throw big combinations and go.
What I will say about Chandler is the guy's gas tank is insane. Look at him still go. 5th round in, he's been dominated in some tiring positions.
Did he get was that an oblique kick or I didn't see what happened?
It looks like he got him there with that kick. I would say that he's compromised somewhat downstairs. It looked like before when he was moving around the octagon as well, his leg was bothering him. Something's going on.
Yeah, if you want to bait Charles, maybe move to the cage. When Charles gets close, that's when you explode. But in the center, Charles just keeps the perfect distance to not get hit.
Can you imagine if Michael Chandler catches? Oh, he caught him with a shot. Big shot. Got him in the eye. Oh, okay. And now Chandler is reversing the position.
He's looking for what you call an octopus guard, but not a good position to be in. He might. Oh my gosh, this is bad. He should.
Dude, Chandler's landing. Shot after shot. The referee's close. Having to. Wow. Okay. So Oliveira's out there. He's just kind of like, I don't want to be in that position. I don't want the fight to be cold here.
Yeah. Not a good way to play octopus guard right here. Charles is looking to stand up. Never mind. He's pulling guard again. And now he should use that underhook. I don't know if he's rocked, so he's just trying to stall for time.
If you're Chandler here, you got to get it done here.
Yeah.
You got to get it done. This is your time. Wow. Look at these elbows.
Good work from Chandler. Good work from Chandler.
Oh, no, he's in the full guard here. Got to be careful against Oliveira.
It's a lot harder to do damage from guard. So the half guard was a better position for him.
Safe. It looks like here Oliveira is just going to try and tie him up. Try to make it through to the end of this round. You got 2 minutes and 48 seconds. If you're Chandler, what position are you trying to get here to try and maximize this position?
Honestly, it might be a good idea to just get out of there and look to explode again on the stand-up.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think for Chandler, you win some gravy points at least for coming back in this round and going through this. We've got triangle set up. Yeah, I think Chandler should just get out of there, look to stand up, and try again with the stand up. In this triangle, obviously, you got to keep your posture up. You don't want to bend over because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's what's going to make it worse. But Oliveira is pretty good at triangles.
Yeah, Chandler is probably very confident just because of his stocky build, but not a guy you want to test this with. Okay, his arm's back in. Oh, Charles is up.
Okay, here we go. Let's have a look at what happens here. It's interesting. Is Oliveira really hurt, or was this just an opportunity for Chandler before that he took advantage of? Let's have a look.
Charles all of a sudden looks worn out, and he's a little wobbly.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, just got caught again with the left hand.
Again! Whoa! Beniel, this is crazy, man. Look at this. He says, come here. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Insane.
That's takedown from Charles.
Ooh.
I think that's the right idea. Charles took a lot of damage this round that maybe he didn't even need to take, I think he came forward in hopes of a finish, and he took a lot of damage. I think now he's going back to the game plan, which was distance takedown.
Yeah, I think it was that shot that Chandler landed on his eye. That's never a great time, especially when that glove goes into your eye. I imagine that would suck. Look at this. Oliveira now back into trying to get this rear naked choke. What do you think of this position?
If the head position's not good, it's hard to choke. And Charles doesn't quite have the ear-to-ear position for the choke. So now he's ear-to-ear. Now he can get the choke.
If you're Chandler right here, you're just doing what you
go
can.
Forward. He's going to do a front flip right here.
Let's have a look.
Nope. Never mind. He went back. I thought he was going to do a front. Jim Miller did like a front flip on me. We both spiked our necks, and I had neck issues for like forever. Neck issues again.
Oh, this is insane. All right, so Chandler's making the most of this opportunity, at least, right?
Yeah.
As Charles Oliveira kisses him, and the round is over. Whew.
Good
that
fight.
Last round was insane, man. What did you make of Chandler being able to come back and at least have some kind of success towards the end of the fight?
I mean,
I didn't save the fact that he got dominated for the majority of the fight for you.
I didn't think he had the cardio to do that and to come back, and I think he won the last round. I don't know what you think, but I think he won the last round. I think he went out pretty hard and he did a good job in that last round.
So we've got Oliveira out there walking around.
Yeah.
Unbelievable stuff. I wonder, though, if he does end up fighting Islam again, if Islam gets through Arman, do you see much of a different fight? Do you think Charles has much of a chance?
Yes. I think you know, if Makhachev and Charles happens again, if he plays a good distance game, I think he has a much better chance. I think last time he was trying to be so aggressive with Makhachev that he got caught with that left hook. I think he plays a distance game like he did today. He might actually have a much better fight.
Yeah, it was that shot caught him in the eye. What do you think of this version of Mike Chandler? Justin DL Mike 2.0 was a shadow of himself. It looked like he kind of got back in there in the 5th round. Do you think the layoff, ring rust, or just the fact that Oliveira just came out there and did his thing?
I don't really like consider ring rust, but this might have been one of those situations. He just didn't know how to fight at that distance, and you know, ring rust can have something to do with that.
We've got Josh Park, who was Mike's next fight. Title run is set back, and he said it is his last title run. I think, man, Mike Chandler versus Beneil Dariush. Let's go. What do you think? I mean, he got dominated, but he had that last round. So you must be, at least there's something that he showed that might make you interested in fighting him.
Yeah, I just would like to fight earlier, you know, so I wouldn't want to wait till like whenever, because normally these guys fight like once a year. So I don't want to wait another year to fight.
I would love to see you versus Chandler. What do you think you and Chandler would look like? How do you see that fight going?
A little bit of stand-up, but from what I'm seeing, I would definitely favor a takedown game and just submit him. I think the one mistake Charles made was having his head too high. I think in the same position, I would go more ear-to-ear and look for the finish.
Dude, I would love to see that fight again. Maybe Chandler's ready to go a bit quicker. Beneil Dariush versus Michael Chandler. Everybody jump online and ask for this fight to happen. A great fight.
I would like that. Oh.
We got Daryl saying Ben subs Chandler in round 1. Benny subs Chandler. There you go. The predictions are already coming in, man. So.
Also, another thing I saw in Chandler is he's very susceptible to knees when he's against the cage. Charles landed a bunch of knees, but I'm surprised he didn't continue to go for him.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting to see that Charles Oliveira's game was so grappling heavy, but it paid off. Let's see what he says in his post-fight interview. He's talking with Joe Rogan as we speak. He's thanking God, which is good. He's right there, number 2 behind Jim Miller. Very impressive. 23 UFC wins. The guys are hugging each other. Lots of respect.
Yeah.
Go here, crate. Go, crate.
A lot of class from Charles Oliveira. Did you find that when you fought him as well?
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Go, bed. Go. Go, bed. Go, bed. Go.
Here we go. He's talking about the title picture and himself. Charles just responding in Brazilian. He's going to be front row. Okay. So basically, Charles said he's going to be front row for Islam Ahmed. He's going to be trying to get the title shot next. A lot of people were saying maybe it was going to be him and Max Holloway in the rematch for the BMF belt at lightweight. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? Especially if Islam wins, to potentially do that fight. And of course, if you're just tuning in right now, Beneil Dariush, we are getting him a fight with Michael Chandler, and we're trying to urge Michael Chandler to be ready earlier in the year because we don't want Benny to wait around. Hopefully early on. Hey, Beneil, do you think that you'll be on that card with Islam and Ahmed then? The LA card?
That's what we're hoping for. It's here in Los Angeles, I heard. So I would love to be on that card. That's what I'm getting ready for. In my mind, that's where it's going to be. So hopefully they send me a contract soon.
Okay, so we've got Michael Chandler doing his post-fight interview. He's about to call out Beneil for January. Let's see. Okay, he's cutting a promo.
As usual.
It's a bit cringy, but that's okay. He said he was supposed to show up tonight to win the fight.
Yep.
He wants the BMF belt.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, Conor McGregor. People in New York at least aren't booing him.
My daughter asked me to wear a Spider-Man mask, so
yes, please.
For a second. Is this even on right? I'll do.
You look great. You look great. Keep it on for a bit longer, guys.
Okay.
So let me ask you something, Peter Dariush, or is it Beneil Parker? Michael Chandler's just asked for a
Max
BMF
Holloway
fight,
for the BMF
Max
belt.
Holloway. I would rather see Dan Hooker get that fight, honestly, or other people. Do you think that Chandler should get this BMF fight?
Chandler, no. Bro, I don't remember. What was the last fight he won? Was it Tony?
Let's have a look here. I think it is Tony, yes. It was a while ago.
Yeah, so I think it makes more sense for him, I don't know, to fight somebody outside of the top five. Yeah, so I think Max Holloway, if he's going to fight somebody, I think Dan Hooker makes a lot of sense. I think, let's see. I think the rematch with Dustin Poirier makes sense for Max Holloway. Who else is in the top five?
You got Justin Gaethje, but I don't know about another one between those. I mean, it's a great fight, but I'd probably prefer to see.
I don't think they'll do a rematch on that. There's not a whole lot of history, and there's not a lot of bad blood there. I think there's more to the Dustin Poirier fight in terms of history.
Last win for Michael Chandler was UFC 274, May 2022 against Tony Ferguson. So I think there's a bit of work there for Chandler. I honestly, again, January, you versus Chandler on the same card as the Islam fight, I think would be great if he's doesn't have any injuries. I think that's a great fight for you as well. I'd love to see it happen. We've got a comment here about the Spider-Man mask. You should wear the mask in your next walkout. What do you think, Benny? Daryl Sargent.
That I couldn't even get it to look symmetrical. My nose is so broken; it's constantly crooked. I don't think it's great for hiding my face. It would be. Let's just skip that idea. Maybe if I have a cooler mask, maybe. But for right now, we're sticking with the usual.
Scammy right here. Yes, Beneil and Chandler would be a great matchup. By the way, I think imagine someone updates your Wikipedia profile page from that horrible dog picture to you in that Spider-Man mask. Wouldn't that just be going from a bad picture to a worse picture?
From one bad to worse. No, let's not. I don't. They still haven't changed that picture.
I might go on there myself and change it for you, man. I think I know how to do it.
I would appreciate that.
But imagine I do it to the Spider-Man one.
No, please don't. I hope people don't screenshot that and start sending it to me.
Man, it was a bit more like 50 Shades of Grey than Spider-Man, but you know, you're a sexy man, Beniel. All right, let's talk about the main event here. Jon Jones versus Stipe. First of all, I got to ask you straight up. You know, Jones, he wasn't happy with me and Luke Thomas when we reacted to his comments about Tom Aspinall, when he said that Tom Aspinall wouldn't do much for his legacy and he should fight Alex Pereira. I have all the respect in the world for Jon Jones. You know, I spoke to him when he was here in Australia, but me and Luke Thomas both felt like those weren't the comments that he made were just so ridiculous when you have a UFC interim heavyweight champion and you're saying that he isn't deserving of fighting you when you are the champion. A lot of people say it's almost like ducking. What do you make of Jon Jones and his not willingness to even consider Tom Aspinall? Do you think it's just him trying to build up the fight and get the money from the UFC in order to make it happen, almost kind of like playing people? Or do you believe that he generally just has no interest in fighting Tom no matter what?
Two ways it could go right now, in my opinion. I think one could be he's taking the safe route. He's like, hey, I'm gonna fight Miocic, and that's it. I'm gonna bounce. You know, greatest of all time, and just move on. That could be one direction. Another one could just be he's playing games. You know, he does this. He's been doing this his whole career. He plays a lot of games, and he gets in his opponent's head. And so it could be one of those things, you know, making frustrating Tom Aspinall. So when the fight finally does happen, he can exploit it. But I think more than likely it's the first option.
Do you think that Tom Aspinall is the man to beat Jon Jones?
If they fight, yeah, I think he's got the best chance of anybody he's fought in the last whatever amount of years he's been fighting. I can't think of somebody who I would when he was fighting, I was like, oh, this is going to be a tough fight for Jon Jones. You know, even the Dominic Reyes fight, you know, I didn't think he was going to struggle that much. So I was surprised with that fight.
Drop your predictions for this fight, the upcoming Jones-Stipe fight, as we watch the preview clip for Jones before the guys start walking out to the ring. I got to say, you know, I would love to see Stipe win here. I think that people are sort of underestimating him, but I do think Jon Jones dominates him. I don't think this is going to be a first-round win for Jon Jones. I think it's going to take him I'm going to predict maybe a fourth-round stoppage. I think he's going to beat up Stipe, dominate him, and eventually basically make him quit towards the fourth round. How do you see this fight going, Benny? Do you think this is going to be a lot more dominant than what I just predicted?
Yeah, I think he's going to finish him earlier than that. You know, obviously, I think I'm rooting for Miocic as well. I think he's, you know, he's had a great career, and I'd like to see him just finish on top as well. But yeah, I think Jon actually wins even quicker. It might be in the second or the third round. I think he's going to be much.
You there, Benny? Sorry, you cut out there for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. My prediction is that I think Jon is going to win earlier on. I think he's going to be more dominant, and I think he's going to end up winning in the second or the third round. And I think I think it's going to be a typical Jon Jones fight, to be honest with you.
Beat him down. You think like a TKO type situation?
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about Stipe as well, and I'm interested to see what happens here, is when he walked out to the octagon recently, it looked like he couldn't walk properly, like he was limping really, really badly. And then in one of the build-up videos, when he was walking out of one of his tanks or something, it looked like he had issues with walking as well. Almost like a Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz situation where he couldn't move around well. So I wonder what kind of Stipe we're getting for this fight. Obviously, you're not going to pass up this opportunity.
So I didn't see that. If that's the case, Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. If that's the case, I honestly don't know what's going to happen.
You got to have your base under you here to beat John Jones. I am curious as well what this 230 something pound John Jones looks like. There is here a case to be made, though, Beniel, that Stipe is dangerous. We've seen him put out Daniel Cormier in that rematch when Daniel looked like he was winning the fight. If he is to win this fight, what do you think is the path to victory for Stipe?
Fight behind your jab, lots of fakes, mix in the wrestling as much as you can. I don't rush. I think to rush against a guy like John Jones is it's like a gamble. It's like a 10-1 gamble, and obviously no one's been able to crack that code, and I don't think you're going to be able to do it by trying to rush him.
It's interesting though, Stipe, right? We don't know what kind of Stipe we're going to get here, but how do you rate him as like one of the most dangerous challenges for John Jones? I guess DC would be right up there. Gustafsson was a tough challenge, but from the perspective of a real heavyweight with real power, obviously Garner is that, but he kind of freaked out in that John Jones fight and quickly got beaten. We're going to see John actually take real shots here from someone with some power behind him.
We have to remember Ngannou, I think, Francis, he, I think, has a great chance against John because I think he has great defensive wrestling, great power, and he also has good takedowns himself. Obviously, I don't think that fight's ever going to happen, but I think that was a fight that could have been super interesting to watch. That being said, I think another person is Tom Aspinall. These are really the guys that I think are going to give John problems. Hopefully, I'm wrong today, and we have a great fight, and Miocic just is ready to go.
Here we go. So we got Nick, CM. Literally everyone says don't rush, and Jones has them figured out in the first round. Rush him. Do you think this is a situation where Stipe's got to capitalize early here before John can measure him out?
Stipe fights well in the later rounds too. Like, look what he did with DC. He was able to finish him in the later rounds. So I don't think he needs to rush. I think if he fights,
everything okay back there?
Yeah. Just my kids being kids scared me for a second. She's a little tired. It's getting late here, and so she's tired. We normally don't let them stay up this late, but since it's the fights, we're making an exception.
I love that, man. I love that. Here's another question for you. If Stipe beats John Jones, right, goes out there and stops him, what does that make Stipe? Obviously, he's one of the greatest. He is the greatest UFC heavyweight champion, probably. Yes. This would make him what? The greatest of all time? What would this make if he's able to stop John Jones? What did this make him?
Greatest heavyweight of all time.
Puts him on the Mount Rushmore? Like, does this put him next to, the Anderson Silvas and the GSPs? And
yeah, it's a good question. What does he do after that? Does he retire? If he retires after that, I think, you could definitely consider putting him on that Mount Rushmore for sure. But I think in reality, he would easily take the moniker of the greatest heavyweight of all time.
It's interesting. Yeah, a lot of people are asking if Stipe retires if he beats John, or if even John retires if he beats Stipe. What's your feel here? If John Jones goes out here, demolishes Stipe, do you think he's playing with everyone, and do you think he just hangs it up here?
I think this is a retirement fight, in my opinion, possibly for both of them. But I think this might be John Jones's last fight.
Tom Aspinall, he's a nice guy. He's always texting me nice messages. He's a real sort of people's champion, even though he's the interim champion. People love him. He's there tonight. What do you think? What do you think he can do? He's sitting cage side. If you're in his position, what do you do to try and lock in this fight with John Jones? Like, do you try to get into the octagon after Jones wins?
Yes.
What do you do here?
I think definitely get in the octagon. Make it personal, and then it makes it harder for John Jones to retire.
So we got Stipe here. Earlier on, John Jones and Stipe had a stare down. Did you see that where Stipe put out his hand? John didn't shake it. Stipe said something about his kids, something about this. It was a bit of a weird. Like, what was your reaction when you saw that?
I think John is just trying to look for something to create something. You know what I mean? Some kind of animosity. And I think he found it in that, I don't think John said anything. Stipe said anything about his kids. I think Stipe spoke about his character, and I think that got under John Jones's skin. So John is now coming back with, trying to get under, not under his skin, but get in his head, saying, "Oh, you said something about my kids,"
Okay, so we got John Jones ready to walk out. Is he the GOAT? Do you think he's the GOAT?
If it wasn't for his failed test, he would easily be the GOAT. Like, there would be no denying it. But there's a question mark, I guess, there because of his history with drug abuse.
It's interesting that he speaks about legacy and stuff. And obviously, I'm a big fan of John Jones as a fighter, but he's just had such a rough run outside of fighting. What do you think legacy? What do you think is legacy? Is it what happens in that octagon? Or is it just kind of everything put together?
Most fans that I know, they don't care about, what he's done outside the octagon. So they just see John when he's inside that cage. So that's what most people see. So I think most people will just look at his career when it's all said and done. They'll just talk about him as being the GOAT. But it's always
funny because Tom Aspinall, I'm pretty sure, is sitting right near his family somewhere here.
Yeah.
So, where is he? Maybe they moved him. Oh, there he was there. If I'm Tom Aspinall here, I'm just doing what I can.
Yeah.
He's such a nice guy. I just feel like the UFC is not gonna. Okay, here's another question for you, Beniel. Let's say John Jones beats Stipe, right? He goes into that ring and says, "I'm retiring. Here's the heavyweight belt." Goes away for a couple of months. Tom has to now defend the full belt. And John kind of creates a situation for himself where he can fight Alex Pereira at heavyweight, right? Because he's no longer the champion. He can kind of come back and be like, "Hey, I'll fight Pereira now."
Retired?
If he kind of retired tonight and then came back, retired as like a way to negotiate a better deal in this Alex Pereira fight.
Problem with retiring is, you get out of the testing pool. And and then you have to get back into the testing pool. So it would take a long time for him to get back. It's a tricky question. Interesting, he has Gordon Ryan in his corner. I wonder if he's going to use a takedown heavy approach.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I spoke to Brandon Gibson, and for those, not many people watched it, but Brandon is an absolute legend, and we actually went through all of John Jones' best finishes. It's on the channel, and Brandon broke them all down. We've got Greg Jackson in the corner too. These guys are absolute legends. And Gordon Ryan, Brandon Gibson was able to provide some really interesting insights when it comes to the grappling. You yourself, Beniel, you're an incredible jiu-jitsu artist. What do you make of Gordon Ryan? Do you classify him above the Craig Jones, for example, of the world? Do you think he's the greatest mind in grappling right now? And do you think he can figure out the puzzle when it comes to this kind of stuff?
They're not in the same weight, him and Craig. And Gordon is much more of a competitor right now than Craig is. But I would look at Gordon Ryan as the GOAT of no-gi grappling. As far as all of grappling, including the gi, there's other guys I would put up there like Marcelo Garcia, Roger Gracie, because they're both ADCC champions and they were world champions in the gi. So, but as far as just no gi goes, I would definitely go with Gordon Ryan. And as far as him and Craig go, they're not in the same division. They're not in the same weight class. I think there was a time where Craig was really focused on competition, and you could really see him competing with Gordon. But I think now he's kind of like in a different stage. He's more of a businessman stage, and he's kind of playing that out.
It's pretty cool though. Like, did you like what you saw from the Craig Jones International? He shared all those crazy messages from the ADCC guys, like threatening to beat him up. And then he's brought a bit more money into the grappling world. He's also brought in a little bit more attention for some of the grapplers to get a bit more limelight. Did you like what you saw with him providing another option for the athletes?
What he did with the Craig Jones Invitational was masterful, is the way I would put it. Because not only did he present it well, as far as, hey, we're giving these guys $1 million. We have the biggest names. He made it the same day as ADCC.
Love it.
not only creates conflict with that organization and takes away athletes from it, but it brings more eyes because it creates that conflict. So there was so many levels to that. Obviously, he had those exchanges with the ADCC manager, and
that was insane, right? I can't believe that stuff was even happening.
You know, he did a great job promoting it. He did a great job creating a story. He did a great job just extracting as much as he could out of it. You know, a lot of times my fans and some or haters would say I'm not really able to do that. Basically, is I'm not able to get a lot out of this. They're like, you know, if you would present yourself a certain way, if you would get more out of the story, you know, they could, you know, you could have got all this stuff. But that being said, I thought Craig, you know, he showed his brilliance in what he did in that. I think the whole execution of that was masterful.
So we're getting ready for the first round here, and it is good to see Jon Jones come back, even if it is in the Stipe fight. Even though, you know, and I'm happy to see Stipe get this fight. What do you make of the physical shape that you see Jon Jones in compared to the Gane one? He looks a little bit leaner. I think it was about 236 pounds or so that he came in at. Stipe's looking in great shape.
Yeah, looks about the same to me. Stipe looks in good shape. How much does Stipe weigh exactly?
248.5.
So he's heavier than when he fought in Ghana, because I remember he was super light in that fight, and everybody was wondering why is he so light.
I think, yeah, with Nagano, he was looking to move around and stay away from that power shot. And I do notice that sometimes when guys drop weight and they get a little bit lighter, you can lose a little bit of the power behind your shots, and it doesn't quite work out the way.
Heavyweights should not focus on being super fast. Heavyweights should focus on lifting weights and being as strong as they can possibly be, because you're not going to be able to like create a huge difference in speed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there it is. 237.5 is pointed out by Justin DL.
He was
6'4". He was huge, yeah. If you're throw us his weight from the last fight in the comment section below, but I'm guessing when it came to Gane, they were looking to have a heavier Jon Jones sort of wrestle him, put his body on him, and get him tight. And I think here the idea with Jones is let's move around, let's create distance, let's use good footwork, and let's take Stipe out and slowly shut him down over these rounds. Yeah.
Wow. This is going to be awesome.
Is Jones one of your favorite guys to watch?
From a studying and analytic perspective, yes, he's a great guy to watch because he's able to see so much. He has such good octagon control and game plans. He does a great job executing game plans. So, you know, it's like watching a master in his craft. There's no reason why, to hate on this part. As far as him being outside the octagon, I understand not a whole lot of people are fans of him, and that's fine. But as far as what he does in the octagon, he is great.
He is great. Now we're about to start that first round.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I'm going to say this. We're seeing Jon Jones back in action. It does feel good to see him back.
Yeah.
And I can't believe Stipe is back, man. It's been so many years. Let's have a look. Yeah, so Stipe looks like he's moving around okay.
Yeah. Jon comes out southpaw. Let's see if he keeps that. And if he is, I wonder if he's going to use the oblique kick into takedowns. Jon came overhand with no setup. Alba. Labla mama.
So Caleb's going, let's go Stipe. I know there's a lot of people rooting for Stipe here, and I bet you a lot of big bets on Stipe because the odds.
Now Jones is using his distance with his kicks. He tried to come over the top with the overhand, and right away Stipe countered. And so now he's taking a more cautious approach. Like I said before, Stipe needs to stick behind his jab. I think that'll be a great weapon for him.
And it looks like he is trying to figure out this jab.
Yeah.
Jon Jones, man, his kicks are looking lethal, right? The placement of them is incredible.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Jon Jones with some boxing, using some head movement.
Oh, no.
So I got to say here, though, man, Stipe is he's dangerous, right?
Yep.
He's not. Look at the way he's closing the distance on Jon Jones. Are you surprised Stipe is able to do this early?
No, I mean, he's the same height, so I think that's something Jon will struggle with for sure. That's why Jon is trying to stay at a kicking distance where he can kick a lot with his left leg. you'll see his left leg constantly work. Wow.
Oh, thoughts on that takedown, Beniel?
That was beautiful.
Unbelievable. All right, so Jones now has him. Stipe's trying to get out of this position.
Yeah.
This is a terrible spot to go. If you're Stipe, what are you doing here? You're just taking full guard because that's a place of death against John Jones. His elbows from top are just killer.
He was trying to stand up into a single leg, but I think the danger of choke, and then also John was putting a lot of pressure. He got out of there. John is dropping some heavy elbows right now.
And don't forget, he can do the big elbow now.
Yeah.
He can do the big elbow. The Matt Hamill elbow, the 6 to 12 or whatever they call it.
Stipe has to look to basically survive these 3 minutes, and if he has an opportunity to stand up, stand up. It's going to be really hard with a guy who's 235 on top of you and who knows exactly what he's doing on top with great ground and pound.
So interesting here. Stipe is in a terrible position. He's got to try and get that leg out from underneath, right, and at least try to get full guard. He's kind of stuck in that half guard here, up against the fence.
Stipe isn't really a jiu-jitsu guy. I don't really know if he plays guard at all.
Here we go. Look at this. Look at this. No, he's not really fighting like his life depends on it, right? Now Stipe's kind of holding him in himself with a half guard rather than hipping out and trying to get into a better position. Would you use the fence here to try and quickly get up?
Yes, or put both feet on the hips.
Boy. See, this is not a good spot.
Like he's scared to wrestle up because of the choke. So he's constant. Oh, those are bad elbows.
So if you're John Jones here, are you just elbowing the crap out of him until the fight gets cold?
Yep.
Herb Dean's getting close here.
Yep.
Stipe just kind of doesn't know what to do here in this position.
I mean,
Yeah,
he doesn't really play this position. This isn't really his game. And the fact that he got taken down so easily, you know.
Are you just trying to squeeze that middle leg through, get those legs on the hips and just kicking like hell?
If you're trying to get back to close guard, what you want to do is bring your left knee inside and put it against the belly button of John Jones, and then hip escape away, shrimp away into close guard. But I don't know if that's what Stipe wants to do. He's not really a jiu-jitsu guy, so it doesn't make sense for him to go to the close guard.
But surely you would think he'd be running these drills in camp, no?
Yeah, he could be. Or he could have just worked on, like, thinking he can just get up. But, there you go.
All right, here we go. Full guard.
He just did that. He used his hip escape, and he got back to the close guard. I'm interested.
What are you doing? What are you doing here? You're getting wrist control, and you're just holding on for dear life. You got 52 seconds left.
I'm interested to see if he makes it through this round. How will John Jones's cardio look? Because he went pretty hard.
You think that Jones might be a little bit tired after this?
I'm not saying I don't think he will be, but I've never seen him in the second round at heavyweight.
If you're Stipe here, you want to get those feet on the hips and just push, right? Like you don't want him to. You want Jones to try and get this position here, side control.
Right there, he could have given up his back to stand up, but he didn't. He just he chose to take side control instead of giving up his back.
This is interesting from Jones.
He's going for a Kimura. He's really trying to find this finish with the submissions.
And I'm thinking this Gordon Ryan experience with training camp.
I think so too, for sure.
I mean, this is if there were another 10 seconds or 20 seconds in that position, that could have been it, right?
Yeah. I'm surprised he only has that small cut on his face after all those elbows.
That's the thing about Stipe. He has the head of a man wearing a helmet over his head, like Homer Simpson when he used to have a fight career. He spent a lot of time here in Australia. I've watched a lot of his fights up close. I watched that brutal Mark Hunt fight where he just sat on mount on Mark Hunt and beat the life out of him. The guy has the biggest head I've ever seen in my life.
So
what are you saying here to Stipe if you're in his corner?
I would tell him stick behind the jab, go forward, because when you're backing up, John is picking you apart. And I would go forward and be careful of the clinches.
That kick to the midsection really looked like it took the wind out of Stipe, right?
I thought it hurt him, but right away Stipe came back with a combination.
I think that might have been one of the craziest takedowns. That trip into that side control.
Beautiful. And he went from a kick. He threw it was either a low kick or a oblique kick, and then he went straight into the trip. Masterful, man.
let's have a look here. I mean, Stipe is still dangerous.
Yep.
Let's see what he does.
Yeah. Let's
So
see how
he's trying to work behind the jab, like you said.
This is the first time we see John go into the second round as a heavyweight. He just ate a jab, John did.
So if you're Stipe here, you want to work behind your jab. You want to set up your combinations. He's got some nice body rips as well, which we've seen really.
That's what I was going to say next. If you touch the jab a few times, you could switch it up and go to the body, and then you're going to start to find your right hand as well. So don't rush.
And if the head's not there, the body is, right, Benny?
Yeah.
Putting some water in the basement, and the wise words of friend of the show, Taddy Atlas.
Yes, and I think John keeps pushing with the lead hand. It's going to be a little bit harder to do that with the taller guy. If John keeps doing that, he might get caught.
Interesting as well. Old gloves brought back here. Apparently, John Jones requested this, but Dana White's saying that fighters complaining about the new gloves.
Yeah, I'm hearing rumors that they won't bring back the old gloves at all. So we'll see.
Have you fought with the new gloves?
I did not. I tried them on. I didn't feel like a huge difference. They just feel like they feel like MMA gloves. I've had so many different types of MMA gloves. Whatever I use for a long period of time is what I get used to.
Now, did you see that Stipe throwing a nice combo there, body, head? It looks like he's trying to take our advice here.
See how he's going to the body? And you know what he's doing well is he's moving his head well. Like I said, I was looking forward to seeing John in the second round, and I would say John is a little bit more flat-footed right now.
It's interesting, though, because Stipe is finding some angles here. I would say he's probably going body, and then going up to the head, right? He's trying to get...
Yeah. Ooh, good counter by John.
It was that body kick once again, that push kick.
He slipped the cross as well, answered with a cross, and then followed it up with a push kick to the body. And now the distance that John fights at is very difficult. Even if you are Stipe and you're the same height, the issue is the kicks. No one kicks like John Jones at heavyweight.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's got those Muay Thai legs on him. Man, he's really landing that inside leg kick.
I think
beautiful body shot.
Now is a good time to start moving with the cross for Stipe, because he's predominantly worked with his lead hand. Yep, that was good.
Jones is feinting here, and he's getting a lot of reads. A beautiful knee.
He's able to see Stipe's cross. That was the second time he made him miss the cross, and the first time he countered it as well.
So Stipe here trying to get the angle. Nice little slip.
I think the body work was a good idea.
John Jones is almost trying to establish his own jab here as well, isn't he?
Being orthodox, so it's a lot easier to land a jab when you're orthodox. Good cross by Stipe. Steps in and lands that cross. John goes to the body. He might start to look to go high. After a few times he goes to the body, he'll go high. He's doing a weird, almost like he's going to take you down and comes over with an overhand.
John is.
Yeah, I haven't seen John do that before.
Bit of a Dan Henderson situation, isn't it?
Yeah. But he gets really low before he throws it, which kind of surprises me. I wonder if he's hoping that someone will actually sprawl on him. Heavyweights don't sprawl quite like smaller guys. They will almost let you get to the legs before they start sprawling, because they don't want to risk it.
Oh, Stipe coming forward here, but it just doesn't have much right now.
Yeah,
as he lands, there's not much behind the shots.
But he's having a much better round, in my opinion.
Oh, spinning back kick to the body.
Yeah. So how much time do you have left?
Body work from John, and then he went up high. Stipe now is looking for combinations. John is moving.
Okay. All right, man. Well, look, we're 2 rounds in here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in right now, that was the end of the second round between John Jones and Stipe. And even though Stipe really got destroyed in that first round, he came out in the second round and had a little bit of success. I would still give that round to John Jones, right, Benny?
Yes, I think this is John's round. But Stipe had a much better round. Clearly.
What are you seeing here from Stipe that he can work on more going into this third round?
I don't think he should back up. I don't think backing up is helping him. When he backs up, he's at the perfect range for John to attack him with his push kicks, with his leg kicks, oblique kicks. And I think when he moves forward, he's in better position. And I think if he can move John to the cage, he should keep him there. I think my TV's a little bit behind your TV.
What are you at?
I'm in the break time, and I don't exactly know how far in.
Let me know when your round starts.
Okay.
So everybody tuning in, we're about to go into the third round. We're on a slight delay because we're trying to stay on the same clock.
Yeah, my ESPN keeps almost like freezing on me, and so it's delaying it.
Has it started yet?
Not yet.
Okay, let me wait. I'll wait till it starts.
Ooh.
It started?
Not yet. I think in about 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
I'll keep it. I got it at 4:53. So let me know when you're at 4:50. Okay, I'll start it now. All right. So John Jones is out here, and it looks like he's fresh as a daisy. He's looking good, but Stipe is being aggressive here. Wow, look at this.
Yeah. Ooh, close.
I got to say with Stipe, he does look limited with his legs. Like it's almost like he just can't really move under his body that quickly.
Hard to say. He's not doing bad. I think John doesn't want to shoot, to be honest with you. He doesn't want to have a heavy guy on top of him, sprawling on him. I think John is now looking to focus more on striking and
dude, look at this.
Mirchik is
Stipe.
He's forcing
coming
John to
forward.
back up. You see, this is what I was talking about, forcing John to back up. It's going to be a lot easier for him to fight here. When he backs up, he allows John to kick him. Watch, I think a kick is going to come soon from John.
Yeah.
There it is. He just threw a kick to the body.
Is Stipe making a mistake here by not throwing kicks himself down the middle, low kicks, calf kicks,
if you're not great at kicking, don't risk it. John went for that overhand again. He really feels he's going to land this left overhand.
Yeah, I think he's building towards a little later when he can land it. Stipe's moving forward here, and John just caught him, man, with a jab, it looked like.
Hurt him with a cross. He's hurt.
And he just hit John as he's moving in.
Interesting. That's really interesting because I thought that was going to be a dangerous spot for Stipe, but he turned it around.
Sabala, who's winning. Well, John Jones is winning, but Stipe is showing us a few moments here of danger at least.
Round 2 is really close, but John is actually having a better round 3.
For John Jones here, what do you think he should do? Should he keep the pressure on here and try to go for the finish, or do you think he should drag this out another round, beat up Stipe a bit more, and then maybe go towards the fourth or
John
fifth
should
one?
keep it at a jab and kick distance, and then from that he can eventually get the finish. There's no need to rush. If he can continue to work his push kicks, leg kicks, jabs, he'll eventually get that big one that he's looking for. For example, the overhand or just another takedown.
It's crazy as well. Stipe out of the octagon for such a long time. Look at this. I mean, he is moving forward on John, and he is able to get into the pocket, but he just can't really land the shots the way that he used to, or the way that would make a real difference here.
He has his most success when he goes forward. So I think this moving forward is really important for Stipe. He's really got to get after it. And I know he's gonna get hit more though. That's the problem.
So here we go. Stipe is up against the cage. He's got to get off the cage here, like Benny said, and move forward. That's when he's most dangerous. Yeah. Nice. Landing a couple of shots here. And John Jones is looking to grapple. But this is the thing. When you're at this point in the round, both guys are sweaty. Both guys are tired. It's not as easy as the first round.
John is going to be a little bit more hesitant to shoot a double leg. And the reason why is because, if he gets sprawled on, it's hard on your shoulders. It's hard on your neck. Heavyweights, you know, in wrestling, they say heavyweights don't shoot to their knees kind of deal. And I think that's what you're seeing right now. They're not shooting to the knees.
Some impressive statistics here from John Jones. But there you go, 28 punches from Miocic.
Boom.
He was
Good cross from John. I think John really feels now he can finish Stipe with punches. He's throwing less kicks and really focusing in on his straight punches.
Yeah, but interesting from John though, man. Sometimes he's moving straight backwards. He's not cutting an angle. He's making a few mistakes here. And look at Stipe just trying to land shots as much as he can.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of people that have fought John Jones, would you say like Miocic, he's not doing the worst? We've seen John completely outclass people.
He's definitely not doing bad. I just don't know if
oh my God. Did you see that kick?
Yeah, that's it.
Ah! Can you believe that, man? Can you believe he just stopped him with that?
Beautiful. A heavyweight throwing a spinning back kick like that. That's
wow.
That was awesome.
So John Jones just landed the craziest kick that put Stipe out, and this has to be right up there for John Jones finishes, right up there with Lyoto Machida, I would say.
Yeah, if this is his last fight, I mean, he's going out with a bang, as they say. So we'll see what happens there. But amazing game plan from John. You know, way to stick to the distance. Just he did everything he was supposed to do. He threw so many kicks to the arms of Stipe that Stipe's punches weren't the same power. You know, they didn't have a lot on them. And then he just started landing punches that were doing damage. Just a jab cross really hurt.
Talk me through that kick. They're just showing the replay there. Just the way it landed.
Look, this much. If Stipe's elbow was down this much, it wouldn't have done that. That's the space he dug in that. Look how little that space was that he was able to land. And it's not even on the liver. The fact that he was able to land it that strong, that's a 240-pound man landing a spinning back kick. That's probably 1,000 pounds of force going into your rib. So that's what that feels like.
Shades of Denis Seaver. Kind of the other guy. Last time I saw a liver shot that hard was our man Bas Rutten, right? He used to take people out with the liver shot. We've got John Jones here talking to Donald Trump, Elon Musk. All right, you're Tom Aspinall right now. What are we doing? Are we running to the octagon? What are we doing? What are we trying to do? Are we going to let this pass and then run over? What would you think?
If I was Tom, I would be standing at the door. I don't think the UFC is going to let him, but I think
just do it, brother.
They might. I believe what John is going to do. I don't know. I think he might retire here. This might be his last fight. Obviously I hope I'm wrong because John is, he's such a great fighter. And for a heavyweight, it's not often you can watch a heavyweight and take a lot from them. And this is a heavyweight you can learn a lot from.
It's interesting here as well, man. No handshake after, no, usually you do the hug or whatever. Nothing here. It looks like both men are still, especially John, might still be annoyed at
Stipe it's more Stipe just, he's upset that he lost. I don't think John is holding it anymore. He just won the fight.
And here we go. John Jones. And they're wrapping the belt around his waist. I don't see any gloves being taken off Beniel. We're about to react to the live interview. Joe Rogan's walking up. Here we go. Live interview about to begin. You did it again, he says. Beat the most accomplished heavyweight. Jones says Stipe is really good. He kept coming forward after he landed some good shots. The body shot.
Giving a lot of respect to Stipe.
They're watching the shot again. This is unbelievable. So he was softening up the body the whole fight.
Yeah, for sure. And I was expecting Stipe to do that with his left hand, but he didn't do as much as I expected.
There it is. So they're looking at the shot again. Spinning back kick.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Oof. So yeah, he said he wanted to get him out in the first round, and the body was the game plan for him and the team. Take the body out.
That was round 3, correct?
Round 4.
Oh, that was round 4? Wow, you called it.
Hey, 2 weeks in a row, brother. I mean, two events in a row. Missed it, Denis.
Well,
so he's asking about Tom Aspinall, who's still in the crowd right here with his dad, who's a legend. Okay, so he's acknowledging JC. So he's trying not to talk about Tom Aspinall here, right, Benny?
We'll see. I mean, it really depends. He might be genuine right now in this moment. Try, you know.
Okay, here we go. Oh, he says he's going to stick around, guys. So Jones isn't committing to Aspinall.
Yeah.
And he wants negotiations. He's trying to get the money that he wants for the fight, which is fair enough. And he's thanking Donald Trump. Obviously, it's pretty cool for these guys to have Donald Trump in the building.
He's hitting every note except for the Aspinall note. You know, he's covering all his bases except for look at,
and he's got the dance as well.
Yeah, look at Don's tan. That is, he's looking extra tan today.
Everyone's chanting USA here.
That's
Listen,
cool.
man, you can't. Okay, sorry, it's my bad, Benny. Actually, it was round 3, so my prediction was wrong.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Joe's congratulating John. Greatest of all time. Look, I think that it's hard to deny John Jones is the greatest of all time. All time. As we wrap up here, Beniel, because you've been sitting here with me, just a couple of questions. First of all, first off, just quickly, Stipe is doing an interview. Just want to see what he says. Surely this is retirement here?
Wow.
A lot of respect to John. You love to see the respect.
Yeah. I don't know. Would he keep fighting? He's 42, like you said, right?
Is it a money thing? Like,
I mean, he's fought so many title fights. I don't think he's.
The interesting thing is he would be competitive with a lot of the top guys still.
Yeah.
Here we go. Joe's asking. He's done.
Wow.
He said, I'm retiring, thank God.
Yeah.
I have to say, so just on Stipe, I kind of did feel for him going in here because obviously, like, this John Jones fight was an opportunity he wasn't going to be able to say no to for his family. Like, that's the kind of money that can change your family's life. And at the same time, like, he would have known in the back of his mind that he wasn't the same fighter that he was a few years ago. And also he had to deal with all the bullshit from all the fans and the media and people saying he was going to get destroyed for about 2 years now or whatever, a year now or whatever.
Yeah.
Not an easy position to be in for him, right?
Yeah. But I'm sure this was the money fight for him. For Stipe, I don't think there was a bigger fight for him. So I think he wanted to get this fight done and get out of here. I'm not saying he didn't prepare to the best of his abilities, but I think I think he if this fight wasn't available for him, I think he might have been done maybe a year or two ago.
Okay, so before we wrap up here, and guys, as you're tuning in, John Jones just beat Stipe in an unbelievable performance with a crazy spinning back kick. Last couple of things from you, Beniel, and we'll let you go. First off, John Jones, what do you realistically think is going to happen for him next? If you had to bet on it, do you think we see this Aspinall fight?
I don't think so. I think he, unless it's a crazy number that he gets offered, I think he's gonna look for something like the Pereira fight or just being done. I think that's what I'm seeing.
If it is the Alex Pereira fight, are you giving Alex any chance here if they do end up fighting?
Yes. Obviously, I give Alex a chance. I think what Alex will do is find that leg kick, and I think what John will try to do is take him down on the leg kick. So it'll be a fun fight to watch. But I would again go with John Jones.
And if you're Tom Aspinall, like, what would your reaction be if Tom Aspinall has to defend his interim title in the meantime? Like, could that just be?
I believe if John is trying to fight Pereira, I think they'll strip him of the belt.
Okay. Final question from me, Beniel, and we'll wrap it up. Who do you think is the greatest heavyweight in the world right now?
I mean, you have to go with John Jones, but and Ngannou's still out there, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, you got I guess for me, it's between Francis and John. Maybe Tom in there, but it's hard to deny Francis. Like, he's the lineal champion at the moment, right? Yeah. Like, no one's beaten him.
If you look at potential, I would say Tom Aspinall seems to have the most potential, but look at what just John did. He was so versatile and he did so many different things at heavyweight.
All right, man. So, guys, that is it. That is the UFC 309 watch along. Beniel, thank you so much for joining me on the program. So as we wrap up, where can fans, what's coming up? Do you have anything coming up? Obviously, you got Kings MMA Anaheim. People need to check out the gym, your gym. It's a fantastic new facility, and it looks like everybody's loving it. I'm always seeing stories of people saying that they found a new home. And by the way, Caleb, excellent submission rate, stream submission rate. I can't wait to see Beniel back in the octagon. What can people look out for from you, and how can they keep in touch? And what would you say to them right now?
I would say, hoping to come back in January. And as far as keeping in touch, I guess our Kings MMA Anaheim social media more than anywhere else. I don't spend a whole lot of time on social media. That's where I'm at the most. But besides that, I got another baby coming, so not so easy to find me.
All right, man. Little Denis Dariush on her way. And of course, the Michael Chandler, Beneil Dariush fight in January. That's what we want. That's what we want to see. Let's make it happen. Moicano, Beneil Dariush, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Take care, brother. Great speaking with you guys.